Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio Chapter 1. The train is about to depart. May you all exist eternally. The train is about to depart. May you all exist eternally. Where is this? Thump, 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 thump. Yikian woke up in a train carriage, pressing his aching head as he opened his eyes. A carriage. Yikian could not recall what happened yesterday. His last memory was staying up late watching anime when everything suddenly went dark, and his memory seemed to have a gap. Did I die suddenly from staying up late and end up in hell? At this moment, the voice that had just appeared rang out again. All survivors have awakened, distributing basic train rules. 1. It is forbidden to abandon your train. 2. Every 24 hours after leaving the platform, all trains will arrive at a new platform. 3. After arriving at a platform, you can dock for 3 hours and choose whether or not to disembark. 4. Please collect supplies. Supplies can increase the train level, and every level increase will trigger upgrade module options. 5. Do not leave the train before arriving at a platform. 6. Survive rules as above. Please, you must follow them. The train's first stop will arrive in 1 hour. Please be prepared. This long string of broadcast sounds made Yikian subconsciously pinch his own face. Hiss, this really isn't a dream, is it? The aching sensation in his brain gradually dissipated. He struggled to stand up from the cold floor and observed his surroundings. Just as he had seen when he first woke up, this was a train carriage, and outside the windows on both sides, the endless wilderness was continuously receding. The only thing in the carriage worthy of attention was an oval-shaped device at the front, with a light screen floating above it, clearly displaying Train Operation System. Without suspicion, Yikian walked forward and reached out to touch it. Train system at your service. Current controllable options: train captain information, train details, chat room, trading platform. Chat room, current number of people, 10,000/10,000. Who are you people? Let me go, I have money, my godfather is very rich, let me go back. My medicine, where is my medicine? Hubby, where are you? It's me, Zioen. What on earth is happening? Did I time travel? Ha 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 ha. Great, tomorrow I finally don't have to go to work and look at my boss's face. A large number of conversations kept scrolling by, and one line of text suddenly caught Yikian's attention. Heh, a bunch of idiots, acting quite convincingly. Do you take me for a fool? This must be your program wanting to record a variety show, right? I've seen documentaries before. They used to do space travel, now it's train travel. How unoriginal. I'm getting off the train now. I don't believe you dare let me get hurt. Calm down, brother. What kind of variety show crew could kidnap 10,000 people? Let him try, maybe it's real. The one above is idiot number 2. In less than a minute, that person never appeared again. But the number of people in the chat room changed from 10,000 to 9999. Did he die? Yikian shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He closed the chat room and scrolled the light screen to train details. Level 1 train carriage, none speed, 20 km/h workbench. Level 1, can recycle and decompose resource items, frame. Level 1 wheels. Level 1 base plate. Level 1 upgrade requirements, 100 kg of wood, 150 kg of metal, 50 machine parts speed. If, according to the train rules, the time to arrive at a platform is a fixed 24 hours, then what is the point of the train's speed? However, what made him even more curious was that if they really arrived at the station at the same time, 10,000 people meant 10,000 trains. How massive would a platform have to be to accommodate them? Yikian sensed something strange and subconsciously looked through the window at the seemingly endless wilderness outside. Could it be that, if the speed is too slow, something will catch up? He continued scrolling and opened the personal information interface. Train captain name, Yikian ID, E3 to 1102 owned train, level 1 train mental power, 100. When mental power is below 80, you will fall into a state of mental fatigue. Below 50, you will enter self-doubt. Below 20, you will fall into a state of sanity dissipation. Below 10, you will fall into a state of mental madness. Below 1, you will. Stamina. 100 can be naturally restored by eating or resting. Below 0, you will fall into a state of extreme sloth. Ability, none talent, sublimation train module, none talent, what is this? Sublimation can consume stamina or mental power to perform sublimation and evolution on any existence, regardless of category, level, or condition. He hurriedly opened the chat room and used the keyword search for talent, but didn't find anyone mentioning it. If the vast majority of people possessed similar talents, there would definitely be someone who couldn't keep their mouth shut and would reveal it in the chat room. Since there wasn't, it meant that the owners of talents were a minority, or even an extreme minority. Yi Qian fell into deep thought. Why did he have this? His cheat. Come to think of it, he was indeed a bit different from others in his past world, like how a computer about to be scrapped would suddenly be able to run large 3A games after he touched it, or ordinary cars reaching the speed of sports cars, and so on. Friends joked that he could make the machine spirit rejoice, but Yi Qian just took it all as a coincidence. But this talent on his personal information seemed to be telling him that it wasn't a coincidence. Sublimation of everything. How should I do it? Yi Qian thought as he walked to the workbench in the carriage, where a bottle of water, a piece of bread, and a small knife were placed. These were things everyone possessed, probably considered a beginner's welfare. Inferior knife level 1 sublimation. Yi Qian chanted silently in his heart. The next instant, an invisible force brushed over the inferior knife. The stamina on his personal information also dropped from 100 to 90. Sharp enchanted dagger level 2 it worked. Looking at the dagger in his hand that was flashing with a cold glint, Yi Qian's eyes were filled with excitement. This talent can actually do such things, and it didn't consume much stamina, which is acceptable. He swung the dagger, and as the sharp blade cut through the air, it emitted sharp whistles. Clearly, after one sublimation, the quality of this dagger far exceeded what it was before. It was hard to imagine what kind of junk this dagger was before. Wait, if that's the case, Yi Qian suddenly raised his head and looked around. To be precise, he was looking at the front of this train. The train should also be able to undergo sublimation, right? The description of the talent said that all existences could undergo sublimation, so the train should be included as well. Yi Qian took a deep breath, his eyes filled with curiosity and excitement about the unknown. He walked to the control console, and it was as if a voice in his heart was telling him what to do. He placed his hand on the oval device, sublimation. Chapter 2, Sublimation Train. That invisible power appeared once again. The difference was that Yi Qian felt his stamina draining at a rate several times faster than when he had just sublimated the knife. Phew. Stamina. 90 right arrow 30, slumping to the ground and looking at the changes in the train before him, Yi Qian couldn't help but feel overjoyed. Train upgrade complete. Current level. 2 materials required for the train's next upgrade. 200 kg of wood, 200 metal parts, 400 kg of metal blocks. Upgrade options unlocked. Congratulations on breaking the record for the fastest train upgrade. You have obtained a special module card. Calming his emotions, he carefully observed the train's current status. After reaching level 2, the chassis, frame, wheels, and workbench all upgraded along with it. The train's speed increased from the original 20 kilometers per hour to 40 kilometers per hour. But that wasn't the main point. The main point was that Yi Qian could clearly feel that he could still perform sublimation on this train. It wasn't like that small knife from before, which had exhausted almost all its potential after one sublimation. However, given his current stamina, even if he fully recovered, it wouldn't be enough, unless he added mental power. However, the description of mental power made Yi Qian set that idea aside for the time being. 2 rather special items appeared after upgrading the train. The upgrade options and the record-breaking special module card were the things that truly required attention. Level 2 train upgrade options are as follows. 1. Low-grade carriage blueprint, 0 train coins. 2. Low-grade reservoir blueprint, 1 train coin. 3. Train burst acceleration device blueprint, 5 train coins. 4. Train stop time increased by 1 hour, 2 train coins. All options can be acquired by spending train coins. Train coins. Is that the currency of this world? I don't have a single one right now. Does that mean I can only choose the first one? Yi Qian frowned slightly. If that was the case, Wouldn't his early upgrade this time be a loss? Can I reserve the options and make a choice after I have enough train coins? Yes. Options can be reserved for the duration of 3 platform stops. Feeling a bit relieved, he extracted the blueprint that didn't cost any train coins. Low-grade carriage blueprint requires 100 kg of wood, 150 kg of metal, 60 mechanical parts optional. 20 kg of glass and 10 kg of fiber can be submitted for carriage modification. The required materials were numerous, and at least for now, they weren't easy to obtain. As for performing sublimation on this blueprint as well, he decided to set that aside for now. He didn't even have the resources for a basic blueprint yet. If the materials needed after sublimation were even greater, he wouldn't be able to build it at all. Special module. How special is it? Putting away the blueprint, a diamond-shaped card surrounded by pale blue particles appeared floating above his palm. Special module card. Upon activation, grants 1 special module. The simple description didn't reveal anything special. Only by using it could he know what kind of module he would get. This thing should also be able to undergo sublimation, right? Once the thought appeared, he could no longer suppress it. Although he had already consumed a lot of stamina sublimating the train, he still had mental power. Besides, after eating that bread and drinking the water, his stamina had miraculously recovered to 50. Let's give it a try. It should be fine. Yiqian muttered softly to himself and then immediately chanted in his heart, sublimation. The invisible power appeared once more. In just an instant, the card in his palm emitted countless blue particles that looked like shooting stars. If someone were standing in the sky at this moment, they would see Yiqian's train accelerating like a comet streaking through the heavens, trailing a blue exhaust flame. Yiqian stared at the card in his hand, his brow slightly furrowed. Finally, as the light contracted and the invisible force dissipated, his body felt light. Current stamina. 20 points current mental power. 60 points mental fatigue. Sublimation successful special module card right arrow exclusive module card. 30 points of stamina and 40 points of mental power, which is a total of 70 points. That's a huge consumption. But what does this mental fatigue status mean? I don't feel anything unusual. Yiqian lay on the floor, looking at the card in his hand and shaking off the doubts in his mind. Perhaps it was just an illusion where physical exhaustion outweighed mental fatigue. Amen, Amitabha, Emperor protect me. Regardless of whether it worked or not, he prayed to every god and demon he could think of. Use exclusive module card. A stream of azure light enveloped his entire body, and the light screen of the train's control system appeared before his eyes. Exclusive module card in use. Congratulations. You have obtained a train captain exclusive module. Crossroads of Fate, unique, Crossroads of Fate. A second choice will always appear on your path. Different choices will lead to different fates. Before Yiqian could take a closer look, the train's overhead broadcast suddenly made a sound. Ding dong, please sit tight and hold on. The train is about to arrive at your first platform. Good luck to you all. It's already been an hour. How did I not notice at all? He looked up at the time on the control system. There was only 1 minute left until arrival at the platform. At that moment, a second light screen appeared on the control system. Crossroads of Fate triggered. Please select a platform to stop at. Platform 1, Swamplands Platform 2, Armory. Is this the power of an exclusive module? Please make a decision. A random selection will be made once the countdown ends. I choose the Armory, as the ancients said. If my neighbor hoards grain and I hoard guns, my neighbor is my granary. Yiqian didn't know if the other train captains would become his neighbors, but he felt that at a time like this, nothing could provide a sense of security like weapons. Platform selection complete. Please sit tight and hold on. The first platform the train is about to arrive at is Armory. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A deafening roar sounded from ahead. Yiqian saw it. The space ahead was constantly twisting and deforming, as if a beast was opening its bloody maw to swallow someone whole. Woo-oh, the train whistle sounded. When the train passed through the distorted space, the surrounding environment completely changed its appearance at that moment. Current platform. Armory stop countdown. 2:59:59. Good luck. This platform, no danger. Chapter 3. the armory, the train's speed was gradually slowing down. As the roar gradually subsided, Yikian arrived at his first stop. Standing before the door, he took a deep breath, gripped his sublimated dagger, and pressed the open button. The world outside the door was dead silent. It was pitch black all around, except for a massive, matchbox-like building directly ahead of him. He looked up. There was no sun here, yet both the road beneath his feet and the building were clearly visible. Space travel. What an inconceivable power. No wonder every train's arrival time is the same. Leaving the train, he reached the entrance in less than 10 steps. The door was tightly shut. He used his dagger to pry open a gap, and the door swung open, followed by a blast of decaying odor. Stepping inside, he looked around at the wooden crates arranged neatly. The decaying smell was emanating from them. Yikian pried open a decaying iron lock on a crate with his dagger. Before his eyes, 2 bolt-action rifles appeared, half buried in wood shavings. Low-grade marksman rifle, equipped with 20 rounds of low-grade ammunition. 2 rifles, 40 rounds of ammunition. That was the contents of just one crate, and there were many more such crates in this armory. Good stuff. After opening several crates in a row, Yikian moved all his findings back to the train. After several trips, the strength fueled by his excitement was finally nearing its end. Current stamina. 15 points. Having used his sublimation ability multiple times in succession, Yikian's physical strength had long since reached its limit. However, perhaps due to the excitement, his mental power had recovered to 70. During the 3 hours the train was stationed, he estimated he wouldn't have much strength left to move these supplies without some energy replenishment. After resting for a while, Yikian stopped hauling and instead explored the armory. On a shelf in one room, he discovered several sealed iron boxes. In his previous world, he had seen introductory videos about military supplies, many of which featured similar iron boxes. With curiosity, he walked over to the boxes. The embossed markings on them were blurred, only vaguely resembling square-shaped objects. Could it be? Yikian swallowed hard. He pried open a corner of an iron box and saw blocks of compressed biscuits arranged neatly like gold bars, emitting a faint milky scent and a slight fermented tang. It really is. Regardless of whether the biscuits were expired, he grabbed one and stuffed it into his mouth. If only there was some water too. Although his food for the near future was secured, he was still not satisfied. He only ate 1 block of compressed biscuit. After all, while they filled the stomach, they also made one thirsty. He found 4 containers of these military rations, totaling 80 blocks of compressed biscuits. It was enough for a normal adult male to eat for about half a month. Besides that, he also found some sealed barrels of water nearby, but unfortunately, the smell made it clear they weren't potable. Nevertheless, Yikian moved them all onto the train. This armory was a semi-enclosed space like a matchbox. Collapsed shelves, piles of rotting matter on the floor, and the stench of decay lingering in the air made exploration exceptionally difficult. The deeper he went, the stronger the smell of rot became. In over 2 hours, Yikian only found 42 intact rifles. Most of the others had rotted and rusted due to improper storage, their only value being recycled through the processing table. In addition, he loaded some easily retrievable iron products and wood onto the train. Train upgrades could be done directly through sublimation, but crafting items also required resources. Even if he didn't use them, he could trade them with others. Carrying another load of supplies back to the carriage, he glanced at the countdown on the operating system. There were still 30 minutes left before departure, enough for him to make 1 or 2 more trips. I'll go one more time. There should be enough time. Looking at the now crowded train, Yikian felt that the most urgent thing to build was the first ordinary carriage. He had enough wood and machine parts from the crates and the processing table's recycling of scrap firearms, but he was still short on metal, making construction impossible for now. I don't think I've entered these rooms yet. Returning to the armory, he bypassed the mess on the floor and headed straight for the innermost area. He pushed open the few remaining unexplored rooms one by one. From the interior decor, he could vaguely tell these places used to be living and resting quarters. The first few rooms yielded nothing special until the very last one, where something unexpected finally appeared. Crackle. It was the sound of a bone being crushed. Yi Qian slowly looked down. Beneath his foot, a skeletal tibia had been crushed to pieces. Sorry, brother, I didn't mean it. He wasn't afraid. Since childhood, even the scariest horror movies only seemed like fun to him, and he felt nothing even when seeing the swollen, bruised faces of the deceased at funerals. Yi Qian pulled back his foot. Just as he was about to turn and leave, he noticed a dust-covered paper file folder beneath the skeleton. It wasn't strange for there to be a file folder in an armory, but what was strange was its condition. It was far too well preserved. After all, even iron and wood products had rotted to such a state. How could a paper bag remain intact? Filled with doubt, Yi Qian pulled the file folder out from under the skeleton. He didn't open it immediately, but jogged back to the train. The operating system in the carriage had an item identification function. If there was a trap inside, it should be able to detect it. Level 1 treasure chest can be opened. This is actually a treasure chest. Looking the folder up and down, it was as thin as a cracker. His face was a mix of surprise and delight. Heh, thanks, skeleton bro. I'll give you a proper burial later. He smiled and was about to open it when he suddenly stopped. Right, this treasure chest should also be able to undergo sublimation, right? Just like when he sublimated the train, once the thought appeared, there was no putting it out of his mind. He checked his current personal information. Stamina, 30 mental power, 80. For such a small bag, even if it uses mental power, it shouldn't be too much. Besides, I have compressed biscuits. Eating another one will restore some stamina. It'll be fine. Perhaps it was a unique feature of this world. Stamina recovery after eating was very noticeable. Besides, when a person starts convincing themselves, it means they've already made their decision. So, Yi Qian silently recited those two words in his heart, sublimation. The numbers for stamina and mental power were constantly decreasing. Mental power has dropped below 50. Entering self-doubt state, he lay on the carriage floor like a fish out of water, motionless, staring at the slightly swaying chandelier above. After a long while, he finally sat up. Stamina, 30 right arrow 20 mental power, 80 right arrow 50. It doesn't seem like I feel anything. Yi Qian scratched his head. Apart from physical fatigue, he didn't feel any discomfort from the so-called self-doubt state. Shaking his head, Yi Qian carefully examined the file folder in his hand, which didn't seem to have changed at all. Upgrading a level 1 treasure chest to level 2 consumed a total of 40 points of stamina and mental power, more than he had imagined. Level 2 treasure chest can be opened. It seems I can't continue sublimating it. Can this kind of thing only be sublimated once, or are there special rules? Whatever, I'll open it first and see. Rubbing his hands together in anticipation, Yi Qian opened the folder in his hand. Opening level 2 treasure chest obtained train coins. 4 obtained. Colt M 1911 pistol obtained. Level 2 blueprint. External garbage collector chapter 4 section 1. Preparations for building the carriage, so this is how you get train coins. 4 coins, in that case. Yi Qian opened the train details. The options that appeared after the upgrade were still there. After spending 3 train coins to buy the low-level water tank blueprint, and an hour of train docking time, Yi Qian only had 1 train coin left. If he could find a treasure chest at the next stop, he might be able to gather enough for the acceleration device. Seeing the train's departure countdown change to 1:15, Yi Qian turned his attention to the rewards obtained from the treasure chest. The Colt M 1911, compared to the ordinary firearms he'd gotten from the armory, the craftsmanship of this gun could be called a work of art. It seems guns in this world can all use the same type of ammunition. He loaded a magazine with low-level bullets and aimed the muzzle at a wooden crate outside the car. Pulling the trigger, the wooden crate was instantly blown to pieces. Holy crap, this power isn't right, is it? Rubbing his slightly aching thumb web, Yi Qian looked at the firearm in his hand with a surprised expression. They were both pistols and used the same bullets, but the ones from the armory had at least half the power. If I were to perform sublimation on it as well. Yi Qian quickly shook his head and temporarily discarded this dangerous thought. If he was going to perform sublimation, it wouldn't be now. His stamina and mental power were both nearing their limits. It wouldn't be too late to talk about it once they recovered. Putting away the pistol, Yikian turned to inspect the 2 blueprints he had just acquired through the control system. Low-level water tank blueprint stores water, keeps water from spoiling or evaporating for 10 days. Requires metal, 10 kg machine parts. 20 external waste collector collects waste within the platform. After the automatic device collects it, it returns to the collector before leaving the platform. Requires metal, 30 kg machine parts. 100 can add an additional 300 machine parts for special modification. After modification, it can automatically recycle and dismantle collected waste through the workbench into usable materials. It looks like I can build them all. Yikian muttered to himself as he looked at the total resources he had gathered. Wood, 210 kg metal, 60 kg machine parts, 220. The resources were sufficient, but if he built these 2 items, the first carriage would have to be put on hold for now. Let's wait a bit. He was in no hurry. Since he had gained more docking time anyway, he might as well take a good rest. During the last hour of the departure countdown, Yikian opened the trading platform. The trading platform had special rules. No train captain currently at a platform could list anything on the platform. They could only sell items after leaving the platform. This rule was likely set to prevent people from transferring supplies within a station through platform trading to bypass storage space limits. However, purchasing items was not subject to this rule. This meant that Yikian, who was currently at a platform, could buy items listed on the trading platform by other train captains who had already left their platforms. But such a rule seemed too foolish, as it didn't limit private chat trades between train captains, nor did it restrict people at stations from making purchases. Such an obvious loophole didn't seem like something set by the entity capable of creating this train survival. It was as if it were hinting to them. Can rules be ignored to a certain extent? Yikian didn't think further. He only did one thing next: trade for metal. As for what to trade with, his gaze swept over the low-level rifles and compressed biscuits beside him. At a time like this, what people lacked most was a sense of security, and among the things that could provide security, weapons and food were right there. Nothing. Yikian kept refreshing the trading platform. Although some people had listed the metal he needed, the quantities were too small, the prices were outrageous, and it was clear these people had no intention of actually trading. Everyone is just waiting and seeing. He opened the chat room. Other train captains had already left the first stop, and the dialogue boxes in the chat room began scrolling frantically. Brothers, how were your harvests at the first stop? I searched a garbage station for ages and found nothing valuable except a pile of scrap tires. It's infuriating. But I got a lot of rubber from dismantling the tires. PM me if you want to buy. Be grateful. My first stop was a grassland, nothing but grass, and you can't even walk there. There's black mud everywhere and it smells terrible. It's disgusting. Grassland is good, black soil is very valuable. What value? Can you eat it? Black soil can be used to grow vegetables. It's very useful. PFFT, I thought it was edible. What's the point? With just this tiny locomotive area, you think you can grow vegetables? You've got to be joking. Is anyone selling machine parts? I have a blueprint here that needs machine parts to build. A blueprint was posted in the chat room, immediately causing a sensation. Low-level mechanical fishing rod capable of automatic fishing requires machine parts, 20 metal, 1 kg. Holy crap, what is this, a blueprint? Why don't I have one? They're just lucky. But is it okay to post this in the chat room? PFFT, it's obvious you guys don't have blueprints. This is just a screenshot. You can only build it if you own the blueprint. Friend, I have 20 machine parts here. I'll trade them for the bread and water you were given at the start. Dumbass, you want bread and water for just 20 machine parts. Keep dreaming. I'll give you the parts for just one piece of bread. I only want half, but I only have 15 machine parts. It's just a fishing rod, what's the big deal? Not many people had a successful harvest at the first stop. Is anyone selling water? I'm dying of thirst. Did you guys find any treasure chests? What's a treasure chest? Nothing. Forget I said anything. Damn it, I hate it when people stop halfway. In this situation, are you even human if you don't share information? Exactly. Everyone is trying their best to survive. What's wrong with helping each other out? Some people began condemning the person who mentioned the treasure chest. Their ugly faces could be felt even through the screen. The person ultimately couldn't withstand the malice, and after a moment, they uploaded a screenshot of the control system. Open Level 1 treasure chest obtained train coins. 2 obtained. Golden sore ointment obtained. Level 1 blueprint. Aluminum insulation pad Chapter 5. The first trade Level 1 treasure chests contain 2 train coins. Level 2 contains 4, so Level 3 should be 6, right? Compared to the Level 2 chest, the rewards in the Level 1 chest were quite shabby, but medicine was precious enough in this world. Besides, there were also things like train coins. What's this? Suddenly, a message caught Yiqian's attention. Lai Ziasheng, anyone want metal? I have some here. Can trade for various resources, prioritizing weapons. Prioritizing weapons over food indicated that this person didn't lack the ability to survive. Compared to those who couldn't even fill their own stomachs for the time being, Yiqian preferred dealing with this kind of person. Having made up his mind, Yiqian contacted Lai Ziasheng. Soon, a line of text appeared on the private chat interface. Lai Ziasheng. Hello, are you looking to trade for metal? How much do you have? How much do you need? He was a very cautious person, but it wasn't hard to tell from this sentence that he definitely had a significant amount of metal in his hands. 150 kilograms of metal. Can you provide that? The chat room fell silent for a moment. Lai Ziasheng rubbed his eyes, looking at the text in the dialogue box with disbelief. 150 kilograms. That was the amount needed for the train's first upgrade. What did this person want so much for? Could it be that he had already gathered the wood and machine parts? Besides, what kind of confidence did this person named Yiqian have to dare to buy so much metal at once? After hesitating for a moment, he sent a message. I can provide it, but what are you using to trade? If it's the dagger given at the start, I can only trade 10 kilograms with you. How about a rifle? The train system had a built-in photo function. Yiqian took a photo of an average-looking low-grade rifle and sent it over. 1 gun, 20 rounds of ammunition, for 150 kilograms of your metal. How about it? A gun. You actually have a gun. I can trade with you, but isn't this price too expensive? This is robbery. Even a gun isn't worth this price. Yiqian toyed with a bullet, not at all surprised by the other party's reaction. But right now, he was the only one selling guns. Whatever price he wanted, he was the one to set it. It's not expensive at all. You should understand how important a gun is at this time. Besides, who knows what the train's next station will be like? Can you guarantee there's no danger? If you have a gun in hand, maybe you can survive better, right? Lai Ziasheng knew Yiqian was right. He had obtained a full 300 kilograms of metal and a treasure chest at the first station, thinking he was the luckiest among everyone. But all of that was not worth mentioning compared to the gun in Yiqian's hand. Can it be a bit less? No bargaining. Yiqian stroked his chin, narrowing his eyes. This guy Lai Ziasheng should have a fair amount of metal, and he had completely exposed his desire to get this gun. In that case, he could squeeze him a bit more. Looking at the photo on the screen, Lai Ziasheng swallowed his saliva. Obviously, he wanted it. Can it be 100 kilograms? Yiqian toyed with a bullet. What do you think? Lai Ziasheng gritted his teeth, hesitating for a long time before barely replying. Let me think about it. No rush, take your time, I'm still busy. Lai Ziasheng really wanted to ask what he was busy with. Everyone had already left the first station. In such a small space as the train, besides organizing their own supplies, they could only communicate through the chat room. He wouldn't know that at this moment, Yiqian still remained at the first station, nor could he guess that Yiqian's goal wasn't to upgrade the train, but to manufacture his first carriage. Lai Ziasheng took a deep breath, his expression determined. He had clearly made a decision. I've made up my mind. I'm willing to trade with you, but I want to know, what do you need all this metal for? To upgrade the train? Or do you have a blueprint for this kind of firearm and can mass produce it? Of course, don't misunderstand. I'm not like those people in the chat room. I don't have the intention of making you hand over the blueprint. I just want to say, if you still want to trade, you can keep looking for me. I have the confidence to upgrade my train to level 2 within 3 stations. At that time, I can help you promote this firearm. Where did this guy get his confidence from? Yi Qian thought of the sublimation he possessed. This Lai Zia Sheng likely also possessed some kind of talent. What it was specifically, Yi Qian had no way of knowing, and there was no need to ask. Could upgrading a train within 3 stations allow one to consider themselves a powerhouse? He silently glanced at his train, which had already reached level 2 before even entering the station. He could only say, for someone with such mysterious confidence, it was best to respond with 2 words. Compliance, let's trade. This was Yi Qian's first time trading, and he was also curious about how to do it. Following the instructions, he placed the low-grade rifle plus 20 rounds of ammunition in an open space. Soon, a virtual glow swept over the rifle and bullets. In an instant, the 2 disappeared, replaced by a stack of neatly arranged metal ingots appearing in that spot. I see, it's quite convenient. He wasn't afraid of Lai Zia Sheng playing tricks because all trades were notarized through the train system. There wouldn't be any problems. Looking at the resources in his hands, a joyful light flickered in Yi Qian's eyes. He took out the low-grade carriage blueprint and placed it on the processing table. A translucent light screen rose from the blueprint. Low-grade carriage, buildable, required materials. Wood 100 kg, metal 150 kg, machine parts 60 units. Proceed with construction, yes/no yes. The moment he pressed the option, all the required materials vanished into thin air within the train. Following that, Yi Qian saw in the sky at the end of the train. All the materials were constantly reorganizing under a mysterious force, finally condensing into the shape of a carriage. The carriage fell from midair, landing steadily on the tracks and sliding forward, finally connecting with his locomotive. Construction successful. Can be modified using glass and fiber. Low-grade carriage internal facilities. None carriage function. None modified. No, this carriage didn't have a door to walk in. One needed to enter from the end of the locomotive. The interior of the carriage was large, about 10 meters in length. As for height, it was roughly the height of 1.5 adult males, which could be considered spacious and bright. There were window frames, but unlike the locomotive, it didn't come with its own windows. Presumably, that was what required glass for modification. Now I don't have to put things in the locomotive. Besides, what kind of train is it with just a locomotive? Now it's right. Yi Qian nodded with satisfaction. He took a peek at his remaining stamina and mental power. For the time being, he wouldn't consider sublimation. He stuffed all the resources piled in the locomotive into this carriage and glanced at the departure countdown. With the last few dozen minutes left, it was enough to carry a few more things onto the train. Chapter 6. Arms Trade Stamina. 21 Mental Power. 59 Current Status. Exhausted on the train, Yi Qian lay there motionless like a salted fish that had lost its dreams. During this final period of time, he used his last bit of strength to travel back and forth to the armory twice. Besides the effort spent on hauling items, he didn't forget his promise. He used a shovel to dig a grave for those skeletal remains and erected a nameless tombstone. Finally, this completed the last harvest of this station, as the departure countdown hit 0. The previously stationary train slowly set off. In front of the locomotive, spatial fluctuations suddenly reappeared. The train's speed continued to increase, and after passing through that space, it returned once again to the boundless, gloomy wilderness. At that same moment, the train's broadcast rang out. Ding, all train captains have left their platforms. Congratulations to the 9,892 people who successfully departed safely from the first novice station. You have officially left the novice safety period. Starting from the second station, there is no longer a guarantee that the train will stop in a safe zone. The words from the broadcast caused a massive uproar. What does that mean? Weren't we supposed to leave the platform an hour ago? Someone stayed at the first station for an extra hour. On what grounds? Is it possible the rules are fake? Maybe if we don't board when the countdown ends, the train won't leave. Anyone want to try at the next station? Good point, you try it at the next station. Damn it, I'm reporting someone for cheating. The first station was actually safe. If I'd known, I would have gotten off to take a look. Can people die at a safe station? Of course they can. My first station was a desert. If I hadn't been lucky, I would have been swallowed by quicksand. They had no idea that the big shot they were discussing was currently leaning against the floor, organizing his final haul from this station. Low-grade marksman rifles, 49 low-grade bullets, 1,100 rounds wood, 150 kg metal, 104 kg machine parts, 162 units. Aside from these, he also found some usable tools in the armory, such as crowbars, shovels, screwdrivers, and other hardware. He threw the broken ones into the processing table for disassembly and recycling, while keeping the rest as spares. As for the blueprints he currently owned, the 40 kg of metal and 110 machine parts required for the low-level water tank and the external waste collector were nothing to him. He placed the blueprints and deposited the resources. Through the train's control system, both could be mounted onto the train. The reservoir goes inside the carriage, and the collector will be mounted on the left exterior of the carriage. Once the mounting was complete, Yikian stood up and walked into the carriage. The original pile of supplies was noticeably smaller, replaced by a metal water tank with rollers fixed in place. This low-level water tank could hold 1,000 kilograms of water and featured non-removable partitions to keep wastewater and clean water separate. After pouring the wastewater brought from the armory into the wastewater compartment, it took up about 1/10 of the space, roughly 50 kilograms. A pity there's no water purification device. Yikian felt a slight regret, but he wasn't in any particular hurry, buying water, glass, fiber, blueprints, and all kinds of resources or items. If interested, PM me with your price, trading with firearms and food. This was the first message he sent to the public screen of the chat room. After sending it, he didn't pay it any mind. Obviously, the value of firearms was exactly as he had told Lai Ziasheng before. There would be people who understood their worth. Guns, like the kind where you pull a trigger. Holy crap, can you give me one? What a thick-skinned person, having the nerve to ask someone to give away a rare item like a gun for free. I got nothing but a mess at my first station. How the hell can someone already have firearms, collecting resources? Is the big shot trying to upgrade his train? Big shot, please carry me. I'm an innocent college girl. Send me some food and I'll do anything you want when we meet. After checking the water storage device, Yikian also inspected the recycling device. The recycling device hanging from the roof was a completely black iron box. He would have to wait until reaching the second station to see it in action. Having settled these matters, Yikian finally had the leisure to open the chat interface. At the same time, he saw his private message inbox being bombarded. Zhao Qi. Big shot, give me a gun and I'll be your lackey. I'll do whatever you say. Lin Zhepeng. Friend, could you share how you obtained firearms? At a time like this, everyone should help each other. If you have many firearms, you can hand them over to me to distribute to those in need. This way, more people can survive. Shangyuan Yingsu, Lake Water, 20 kg, container not provided, Cohen Jones. I only have 16 kg of glass. Can I trade it for a gun? Foreigner. Looking at some of the distinctive names above, Yikian was slightly surprised, but on second thought, it made sense. In this train survival world, there was never a rule saying only people from the same country existed. No, perhaps it wasn't even certain if they were from the same world. After a round of blacklisting and blocking those who liked moral kidnapping or wanting things for free, Yikian carefully filtered through and discovered a few potential trading partners. 20 kg of lake water is too little. After a moment's thought, Yikian replied to the woman named Shangyuan Yingsu. As you know, lake water doesn't necessarily mean it's potable. If you want to trade, show more sincerity. Train Captain No. E3 to 3924, Shangyuan Yingsu, frowned slightly as she looked at the response in the chat interface, hesitating for a moment. Shangyuan Yingsu. How much do you want? Name your price. Yikian. 100 kg. At this point in time, water was more precious than resources like metal. After all, it was a matter of life and death. It wasn't just about sustaining life. More importantly, even if someone had gone to a lake with clean water at the first station, very few would possess containers to store it. If it were purified drinking water, he would be willing to lower the price, but this was lake water. It would take some effort to make it drinkable, Shangyuan Yingsu. You're asking for too much. Let me think about it. Chapter 7. Black light enchanted pistol. On the other side of the chat box, Shangyuan Yingsu fell into a brief hesitation. Shangyuan Yingsu. All right, but I also need some bullets. I can use water for the trade as well. This woman, where did she get so much water? No, having a lot of water wasn't surprising. After all, she had said it was lake water, so her first stop was likely a lake or somewhere similar. What truly made Yi Qian curious was where she got the containers to hold the water. Before the average 3-hour stop at the first station ended, both the trading platform and the chat room were closed. Did she find them? Or did she use a blueprint to build them like he did? Yi Qian had no intention of refusing the trade. Since he had already sold the gun, it was only natural to trade the bullets for resources as well. The trade point was placed above the cistern, and the water flowed down from it. Looking at the clean, clear water in the cistern, he suppressed the urge to drink it. Although the water looked clean, anyone with a bit of common sense knew that drinking lake water without filtering and boiling, it was equivalent to seeking death. The trade was completed, and a new message along with a friend request appeared on the interface. Can I trade with you again in the future? She was a low-maintenance trading partner. Yi Qian naturally had no reason to refuse. Compared to the pretentious Lai Zia Sheng from before, Yi Qian preferred trading with someone like Shangyuan Yingsu, at least. She was a woman of few words, which saved him the trouble. After finishing the trade with Shangyuan Yingsu, he sold several more low-level marksman rifles plus bullets to others. He also managed to get all the fiber and glass needed to reinforce the carriage. Once the reinforcement was done, windows appeared in the frames, and the drafty environment inside the carriage was greatly improved. A bountiful harvest. Closing the final trade, Yi Qian had only 21 rifles left in his hands. He didn't set a strict price. As long as it seemed reasonable, he would sell to the other party. This wasn't a losing business. Yi Qian knew very well that currently, everyone's train except his was only level 1. Once the majority of people upgraded their trains for the first time and triggered more upgrade options, who knew if weapon blueprints superior to these low-level rifles would appear, hoarding like a pack rat was not the way to go. The value of such low-level items would only decrease over time. Finally done. Taking out a loaf of bread and a bottle of mineral water from his trades, Yi Qian ate his first proper dinner since arriving in this world. He returned to the locomotive and found a relatively warm spot to curl up in. Survival or not, he was exhausted now. His only thought was to sleep. Accompanied by the rhythmic thumping of the train traveling through the endless wasteland, Yi Qian gazed at the bright moon hanging high outside the window and slowly closed his eyes. Thump, thump, hiss. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. The late-night cold made Yi Qian shiver. He rubbed his eyes and stood up from the floor, shaking his slightly stiff neck, and instinctively looked out the window. The wasteland was still the same wasteland, with an unsettling mystery permeating the distant horizon. Looking up, the cold light cast by the massive moon seemed to add a touch of loneliness to the entire world. Stamina. 87 mental power. 91. How long have I been asleep? Looking at the train's built-in timestamp, Yi Qian rubbed his eyes. 03:37:337. Yi Qian sighed helplessly and opened the chat room, watching the messages that were still scrolling constantly. Only a few people like him could sleep peacefully. Forget it, I can't sleep anyway. Yi Qian patted the dust off his clothes and stood up. Now that his stamina and mental power had recovered this much, it was time to continue with the sublimation. Let's try this first. The Colt M1911, this all-black pistol that looked like a work of art. If he performed a sublimation on it, what level would its power reach? The upcoming second stop would no longer be a safe station. Only powerful weapons could give Yi Qian peace of mind. Sublimation. Stamina continuously drained from his body. Faint patterns appeared on the originally pitch-black firearm. The body of the gun became slightly wider and longer than before, making it a bit strenuous to hold with one hand. Black light enchanted pistol level 3. can consume stamina to convert internal bullets into armor-piercing round stamina. 47 mental power. 90, it consumed 40 points of stamina, which was still acceptable to Yi Qian. Hefting the black light pistol in his hand, he used a few pieces of metal to stack up a simple target. He pulled the trigger, consuming stamina. An armor-piercing round shot out with a loud bang and a searingly bright flash, bang. Looking at the completely penetrated bullet hole, a look of surprise and joy appeared on Yi Qian's face. So powerful. Aside from the high recoil, is this really just a pistol? Stamina. 45 2 points of stamina can convert one armor-piercing round. That's acceptable. It seems I can continue the sublimation. Yi Qian toyed with the gun in his hand. After a moment's hesitation, he gave up on that idea. The current recoil was something he could barely handle. If the power and recoil increased further after an upgrade, he feared he wouldn't be able to control it. The remaining stamina and mental power were enough for him to continue sublimation elsewhere. He went to the first carriage. Yi Qian reached out and touched the wall. Sublimation. To his surprise, the sublimation of the carriage didn't require much stamina. 25 so little. I thought I'd have to use mental power. Warm train carriage, level 2, enchanted warmth. The interior can maintain a constant temperature of 22 degrees Celsius at all times now. I won't be woken up by the cold. Although the train carriages couldn't undergo a second sublimation like the locomotive, Yi Qian was already quite satisfied. Since there's still plenty of time, I'll sleep a bit more. He fetched the thin blanket he had bought from the locomotive and spread it on the floor. Losing a large amount of stamina was the best cure for insomnia. He didn't plan to continue sublimating the remaining items. Tomorrow, he would reach the second stop. Next was rest, waiting for tomorrow, and arriving at the new platform. Chapter 8, Second Stop. White Forest that night. No one slept more soundly than Yi Qian. Countless people were unable to sleep at all due to the roar of the train and the cold winds of the wilderness. Not only did their stamina and mental power fail to recover, but they even dropped further. 10:27 he woke up from his dreams. Stretching his stiff body, Yi Qian looked at the time and made a rough estimation. Yesterday, the arrival time for the first station was 1 in the afternoon. Does that mean we'll pull in at 1 today as well? But how should I calculate my own time? He had left the previous station an hour later than the others, so would his arrival time also be delayed compared to everyone else? Leaving the first carriage and returning to the locomotive, the temperature had dropped significantly. His control console was already piled high with private messages, with little time left before arriving at the second station, and since the train broadcast had warned that safety wasn't guaranteed there, the value of firearms would only increase as the time approached. Lu Zhu. Can I use a blueprint for the trade? The importance of a blueprint was unquestionable. Owning one was equivalent to owning a lathe that could produce items infinitely just by inputting materials. No one was stupid. Up until now, even though the firearms were incredibly attractive, no one had been willing to trade a blueprint with Yi Qian. This person named Lu Zhu was the first. What kind of blueprint could it be? Curious, Yi Qian replied to him. Hello, what blueprint are you looking to trade? Serial number E3 to 9802. Lu Zhu was sitting blankly on the floor. Hearing the notification sound from the control system, he immediately scrambled to his feet and ran over. After seeing the message, he quickly replied, I'll send you a screenshot right now. Soon, the information for a blueprint appeared before Yi Qian. Level 1 train chair blueprint requires 5 kg metal, 3 kg wood, 3 kg plastic, 1 kg fiber. A chair. Yi Qian was somewhat surprised. It was hard to say if this item was precious or not. At the very least, no one would be willing to spend resources to buy one right now. But regardless, it was still a blueprint, something that could be manufactured repeatedly. To be honest, in the world he used to live in, guns and bullets were certainly more precious. But to him, the value gap between a low-level firearm that could lose value at any time and a blueprint that allowed for continuous production would only shrink. At least, that was how Yi Qian saw it. He was the one who decided how much the firearms and bullets were worth. He could sell to Lai Zia Sheng for 150 kg of metal, or to Lu Zhu for a chair blueprint. Ultimately, the price of these deals was never fixed. It depended on whether he needed what the other party offered. Yi Qian was a bit tempted. With a chair, at least he wouldn't have to sit on the floor and could rest better. I can trade, but I can only provide 10 bullets. After all, this blueprint really isn't that great. If you need more bullets, you can buy them with other resources. The moment he saw the response, joy instantly broke out on Lu Zhu's sweat-drenched face. 10 rounds is fine. Thank you so much. I'll send it to you right now. You don't know how important this gun is to me. Without it, I'll definitely die at the next station. Definitely. Reading Lu Zhu's words, Yi Qian sensed something strange. Definitely die. Although safety was no longer guaranteed at the second station. It shouldn't be to the point of definitely dying, right? Why did this Lu Zhu make such a judgment, a talent? Seeing the trade prompt sent by the other party, Yi Qian didn't choose to refuse. Just like before, he didn't care what others were hiding. Everyone has secrets. Once the trade was complete, Yi Qian took the blueprint and went straight to the processing table to manufacture it. A black chair appeared before his eyes. Sitting on it gave Yi Qian a sense of déjà vu, as if he were back in civilized society. I never realized before how important a chair could be. He shook his head and continued with his arms business. By the time the countdown for the train to enter the second station reached the final hour, Yi Qian had successfully sold another 15 rifles plus 300 rounds of ammunition. He didn't plan to sell any more for now. After all, the second station wasn't safe. Stamina, 98 mental power. 100. Seeing that his stamina and mental power had recovered to nearly full values, Yi Qian picked up a low-level marksman rifle and held it in his hand. Sublimation. He felt the familiar sense of weakness, but compared to the Colt pistol from before, the stamina consumed by this rifle wasn't that much. Stamina. 85. It consumed 13 points, and its potential is exhausted. It can't be sublimated any further. Yi Qian wasn't disappointed. Looking at the rifle in his hand, which was now coated in a layer of gilded color, he opened the train system's description. Exquisite marksman rifle, level 2, low level, had become exquisite. However, the power of the bullets fired had more than doubled. Of course, compared to the sublimated black light enchanted pistol, it was still quite inferior. This should be enough. The countdown to the second station continued to tick down. The atmosphere in the chat room also became increasingly oppressive. Fewer people were talking than before. Yi Qian organized his equipment and waited quietly. In the final 30 minutes before entering the station, the familiar light screen emerged. Crossroads of Fate triggered. Please choose a stop from the following 2 platforms. Platform 1, Goblin Camp, Level 2 Hunting Platform. Platform 2, White Forest, Level 3 Gathering Station. It's different. Compared to the first time it appeared, this exclusive module of his now provided more information. Station levels and special suffixes. Hunting and Gathering, Level 2 and Level 3. Is it because I upgraded the train that higher-level platforms appeared? Also, it seems the platforms the train reaches will have a level difference of 1. Was the previous armory also Level 2? No, it should have been Level 1, since the products inside were all Level 1 items. Yi Qian shook his head and, after a moment's thought, chose White Forest as his next platform. A gathering station. Judging by the name, it shouldn't be too dangerous. Platform selection complete. Please sit tight and hold on. The second station the train is approaching is White Forest. 5 minutes passed in a flash. The same spatial fluctuations as before swallowed the train. A grayish-white light enveloped this world. Looking out the window, a grayish-white forest came into view. Current platform, White Forest docking countdown, 3:59:59. Good luck this station. Low danger. The docking time is still the same. Low danger. Taking a deep breath, Yi Qian placed the pistol at his waist, hung the rifle on his back, and shouldered a backpack containing food and mineral water. Standing before the carriage door, he pressed the open button. The moment he stepped out of the train, the entire world seemed to fall into a deathly silence. Yi Qian surveyed his surroundings. In this world, all the trees had grayish-white trunks and leaves. If a more timid person had come here, they would likely have lost the courage to continue further inside, because it was too quiet, so quiet that one could hear their own heartbeat. Coupled with the low danger label that appeared at the end, everything indicated that this place wouldn't be like the armory where he could just take whatever he wanted. But Yi Qian didn't regret his choice. In fact, he had already prepared himself mentally when choosing this platform. Come to think of it, it seemed not everyone could see this danger warning. He had been lurking in the chat room all day and hadn't seen anyone mention it. Those guys who had talked about everything under the sun couldn't possibly have forgotten something like this. So, is this also an ability of the crossroads of fate? Yi Qian pulled his thoughts back and looked up at the deep white forest ahead. It's supposed to be a gathering station, but I can't see at all what can be gathered here. Could it be just simple wood? Then it wouldn't be much different from a normal forest. Is that a path? Chapter 9. White forest fruit. He walked along the road toward the depths of the forest. All along the way, he remained alert for dangers that could appear at any moment. Fortunately, nothing happened. At the end of the road, deep within this grayish-white forest, fruit trees laden with white fruit appeared before his eyes. Could the collection items for this platform be these fruits? Walking up to a fruit tree, he used his dagger to cut the stem, plucked a fruit, and brought it to his nose to sniff it. A sweet yet slightly bitter aroma wafted toward him. This fruit was of a type he had never seen in his former world. Gulp. Looking at the fruit before him, Yi Qian swallowed hard. It smells so good. Inexplicably, Yi Qian felt a craving to devour these fruits in large mouthfuls. Just as he was about to take a bite, a powerful sense of crisis instantly snapped him back to his senses, and he quickly threw the fruit in his hand away. Phew. What the hell? Stamina, 93 mental power, 72. Yi Qian broke out in a cold sweat from the scare. His mental power had been full just a moment ago. It had decayed this much in only the few seconds he held that fruit. He currently didn't lack food or water, so why was he so desperate to eat a fruit he hadn't even determined was poisonous or not? Furthermore, this rate of mental power decay was far too terrifying. It wasn't even this fast during sublimation. There's something wrong with this fruit. Yi Qian took a few steps back, frowning as he looked at the grayish-white fruit. It was still too inconvenient that the train system's appraisal function could only be used after returning to the train. But these fruits were clearly the collection items for this platform. Yi Qian even felt that the danger of this platform lay in the fruits themselves. Did I experience that hallucination just now because I smelled the fruit? If I don't smell it? After hesitating for a moment, he decided to bring these fruits back. At the very least, he would use the train's appraisal function to see what they were before making a decision. Rip, he used his dagger to cut a piece of cloth from his clothes and tied it around his face. Although he didn't know if it would be effective, it was a form of protection. He opened his backpack. Besides water and food, there was still a lot of empty space inside. Man dies for wealth as birds die for food. Even facing hallucinogenic fruits that could threaten his life, Yi Qian truly couldn't bear to give them up. The forest remained as quiet as ever, only now there was a hard-working fruit farmer harvesting his crop. Having filled his backpack, Yi Qian wiped the sweat from his forehead. Good thing I have this dagger, otherwise this wouldn't have been easy. Carrying the backpack, he returned to the train and impatiently took out a fruit, heading to the control system for appraisal. White forest fruit, level 3, a fruit unique to the white forest. If unprocessed, it releases a hallucinogenic aroma that lowers mental power. Consumption will cause a permanent decay of the mental power maximum. After processing, consumption can rapidly restore mental power and slightly increase resistance to hallucinations. Processing method. Soak in cold water for 5 minutes, so that's how it is. No wonder I wanted to eat it so badly. It really was because of the smell. Good thing I reacted in time. Yi Qian patted his chest, letting out a sigh of relief as if he had survived a disaster. Alarm bells rang in his mind. He thought he was cautious enough, but it still wasn't enough. He couldn't wait to throw the entire batch of fruits he brought back into the water. After waiting patiently for 5 minutes, he watched as they transformed from grayish-white to pure white. He impatiently picked up a white forest fruit and took a bite. The extremely sweet juice exploded in his mouth. Delicious. I've never eaten such a delicious fruit. Yi Qian's eyes were full of joy. Compared to the white forest fruit, The taste of that bread and those biscuits was simply hard to swallow. It was hard to imagine that such a fruit would grow in such a gloomy environment. Dumping the remaining items out of his backpack, Yikian set out again, carrying 2 guns and his dagger. A round trip took about 20 minutes, but to fill an entire backpack, it would take about half an hour. With a 4-hour stopover time, he could only make 4 round trips. He couldn't waste any time. Stepping out of the train, Yikian suddenly thought of something and looked toward the carriage. The waste recycling device he had installed there was currently working. So that's what waste recycling means. A small, cube-shaped robot, only half a calf high, was shuttling back and forth between the white forest and the train. From time to time, it brought back things like leaves and put them into the recycling station. I feel like it's kind of useless. Yikian sighed, since it was already built, whatever. In the white forest orchard, the dagger in Yikian's hand moved incessantly as fruits from the trees were gathered into his possession. After several trips, the train's stopover time finally neared its end. 0:32:16, what a pity. I wonder if I'll ever have such delicious fruit again in the future. In nearly 3.5 hours, he had picked a total of over 100 cattas of white forest fruit. Ignoring the possibility of rotting, it was enough for him to eat for quite a few days. He didn't set out again. After all, it wasn't long until departure time, and he didn't want to miss the train due to greed. Yikian organized the resources he currently had on hand. Besides the white forest fruit, there were 79 compressed biscuits and 21 bottles of purified water he had bought. This food was enough for him not to worry about survival for a while. Leaning back in his chair, Yikian ate a fruit and opened the chat room. By this time, everyone except him should have left platform 2. The moment he opened the chat room, his gaze was instantly drawn to a line of numbers. 8721/10,000, over 1,000 people had vanished forever, and this was only the second platform. Furthermore, the number was still decreasing. Why? Who has medicine? I only drank a mouthful of lake water. Why does my stomach hurt so much? Serves you right. You dare to drink water that hasn't been boiled. Do you really think you're a Superman? Damn it, those wild bulls gored my lungs. Brothers, I probably won't live much longer. If anyone sees my wife, remember to tell her for me that her husband killed a bull. Go on, guy above. I, Cow Murin, shall take care of your wife for you. Woo-woo. The place where I'm bleeding hurts so much. Which big shot has medicine? I remember someone got golden sore ointment earlier. Please save me. So hungry. The bit of bread and water from the newbie gift pack isn't enough to eat at all. In modern society, humans would receive excellent treatment for injuries. As long as they weren't left alone, there was always a chance to recover even from severe injuries. But it was different now. Even if one summoned the courage to get off the train and explore, the slightest carelessness would lead to a crisis. Even if one luckily escaped, it was very likely to result in bodily injury. If it was slightly serious and treatment couldn't be obtained, then one could only wait for death. Not to mention that many people still hadn't obtained food and water. The pressure of survival was suffocating them. Chapter 10. Sublimating a Level 3 chest. So unlucky. My first stop was a dilapidated house filled with nothing but trash. Damn it. The second stop dropped me at a stinking mud pit. The smell was so disgusting I didn't even have a chance to go out. Don't even mention it. At least you didn't run into monsters. I was chased by a pack of wild boars the whole way. The train was almost overturned, and there are still several big holes in it. If the departure time hadn't arrived, I would have been a goner, selling 1 piece of carrion vulture leg meat, looking to trade for drinking water. I didn't dare get off at the first stop, and I knew the second stop was dangerous, so I didn't go down either. Hearing you guys talk, I'm too scared to get off at the third stop now. If you don't get off the train, aren't you just waiting to die? Do you still have food and water? Not everyone was like Yikian, who could sublimate and upgrade their train at the start, and then obtain the Crossroads of Fate module, allowing them to avoid dangers by choosing based on platform levels and prefixes. After lurking in the chat room for a while, Yikian's docking countdown was nearing its end. Only then did he remember that he still had a waste recycling device running in the first carriage, 4 hours. He wondered what kind of harvest he would have. In Yikian's heart, if that little guy could collect a dozen kilograms of wood in this white forest, it would be a blessing from the heavens. He didn't hold much hope. Level 3 chest, ready to open. Wait, what's this? He rubbed his eyes, thinking he had woken up too fast. He looked again. Holy crap! Everything else in the recycling platform was trash in every sense of the word. But among that trash, a grayish-white wooden square box completely outshone everything else, a chest, and it was level 3. He had thought about the possibility of chests existing in the white forest before, but this place was too big. Aside from the path leading to the orchard, Yikian didn't dare go too far into the depths of the forest. If he got lost, he might not even be able to return to the train, so he simply hadn't thought about finding a chest. He never expected this. This little waste-collecting robot he had looked down upon had actually brought back a chest from this forest. Now, Yikian's gaze toward that silly-looking blocky robot was full of appreciation. He reached out and patted the little robot's square head. As expected of me, spending so many resources to build a recycling platform was definitely the right move. If the little robot had expressions, its face would surely be filled with contempt right now. After all, its master had just been expressing his disdain for it without any reservation. Humans truly are the most fickle creatures. Suppressing the urge to open the chest immediately, Yikian reached out and pressed his hand onto it. A level 3 chest would become level 4 after sublimation. Logically, that meant a minimum of 8 train coins plus other rare items of level 4, stamina, 45 mental power, 92. Sublimate, sublimate. Yikian began the sublimation in a joyful mood. Stamina drained away, followed closely by mental power. When the invisible power dissipated, just like the document bag from before, the wooden box still showed no outward change. Level 4 chest, ready to open. Stamina, 20 mental power, 62. His body was exhausted, but his mind was extremely excited. Yikian rubbed his hands together, his eyes burning with anticipation. Hehe, let me see what's inside. Creek opened. Level 4 chest obtained. Train coins, 8 obtained. External alert device, level 4 obtained. Bazin fruit tree seeds obtained. Train gray-white paint obtained. High-grade ceramic plate bulletproof vest, a level 4 structure. If those people in the chat room found out, wouldn't they die of envy? Yikian muttered softly to himself, having no intention of showing off. Showing off would only invite jealousy and even resentment from others. He only needed to mind his own business. Why care about anyone else? However, this level 4 structure could not be sublimated for the time being. It wasn't due to a lack of potential, but rather because his stamina and mental power combined didn't seem sufficient to meet the cost of sublimation. It seems level 4 is a watershed. External alert sentry tower device can be installed on top of any carriage, can be equipped with any long-range weapon after installation. It will enable automatic alert attacks, attacking hostile threats within a 100-meter visual range and locking onto targets to break through camouflage/stealth/illusion or any other visual obscuring effects. Note, if damaged, it can be repaired using machine parts. Good stuff. As expected of a level 4 chest, it's truly different. He placed the alert sentry tower on top of the locomotive. From the outside, it just looked like a circular object with a layered structure added to the roof. When automatic alert was enabled, a red light orb appeared within the layers, rotating 360 degrees. Yikian had 6 rifles left. Excluding the one he had already sublimated, he equipped the remaining 5 into the sentry tower. Can trees really be planted inside the carriage? Looking at the remaining 3 rewards, Yikian scratched his head. Bazin fruit tree seeds, level 3 plant. Requires the unique gray-white soil of the white forest for planting sprouts in 10 days. Grows into a tree in 10 days. Matures in 10 days, consumes half a kilogram of fresh water daily, half a kilogram of fresh water per seed. At this time, there probably weren't many people capable of planting them, but Yikian just happened to be one of them. However, a growth period of 30 days was quite long. Regardless of whether they could be grown, these seeds reminded him that the soil of this white forest could also be considered a special resource. There was no reason not to take some away. Furthermore, he could wait until his stamina recovered to sublimate this seed. Docking countdown 0, 3:21, he filled several wooden boxes with gray-white soil. In the final minutes before departure, Yikian shut down the waste recycling platform, patted the little robot's head, and tossed all the trash it had picked up from the forest into the workbench for recycling. Although there wasn't much, it still provided him with 12 kilograms of wood, along with some leaves and stones. To Yikian's surprise, those leaves weren't entirely trash either. White leaves, level 1, can be used to produce white pigment. White stone, level 1, can be used to produce white pigment. Everything in this forest really is related to white. Little guy, good job. Once I've rested, you're the next one I'll sublimate. He patted the little robot's head. The countdown ended, the train started. A slight feeling of being pushed back into his seat hit him. Yikian looked out the window as the white forest receded before his eyes. After a moment of void, the gray-white vanished, replaced by that endless wilderness. I'm back. Only then did Yikian stretch, open the chat room, and find that his private message interface was blinking with a faint light. Someone had sent him a message. Private message alerts between train captains only appear after adding each other as friends. Ordinary private messages would not trigger an alert. In other words, there was only one person who could have sent the message, Shangyuan Yingsu. Do you still need water? Chapter 11. Trading with Shangyuan Yingsu. What do you need? Just to be clear, I don't have any more firearms on hand to trade with you. Yikian tapped the light screen and sent the message. After receiving no reply for a while, Yikian assumed the other party wouldn't trade anymore. Just as he was about to close the private chat, a message came through from the other side. Sorry, I was just taking a shower. A shower? Yikian silently looked in the direction of his water storage tank. Just how much water does this woman have to be able to waste it like this? Even he wasn't that extravagant. It's fine. So, what do you want to trade? You should have seen what I said earlier. Inside Shangyuan Yingsu's train, a young girl with waist-length black hair stood up from a wooden barrel that took up more than half the train. She coiled her long hair up, her pale blue eyes devoid of any emotion. 32 kilograms of wood, 50 kilograms of metal, and 40 machine parts. You should have these things. Yikian raised an eyebrow. Instead of answering the question, he retorted, these materials are for upgrading the train, right? How are you so sure I have them? Furthermore, even if I did, why wouldn't I use them to upgrade my own train? Because I hate trouble. Before contacting you, I had already collected some materials, but it takes too much time and requires interacting with too many people, which I don't like. As for why I chose you, I think you are the only one who can produce different materials all at once right now. I've calculated that you've sold over 20 rifles, and besides food and water, what else would you be trading for if not various materials? That was very accurate, but not entirely correct, because the number of rifles Yikian had sold wasn't just over 20. It was double that, over 40. As for the resources she wanted, Yikian did indeed have them, but he wasn't interested in trading them just for water. After all, what was currently in his water storage tank was enough for now, and he even had a way to make it drinkable. He had seen this method in the chat room: drill wood for fire, then boil the water. Regardless of how it tasted, boiled water at least wouldn't kill anyone from diarrhea. Of course, unless he absolutely had no water to drink, he wouldn't try this method. Shangyuan Yingsu was silent for a moment. She dried herself off and sent over a screenshot. This thing should be enough. Water purification device, level 1. Can filter and purify sewage. Can purify 1 kilogram per hour. Seeing the content in the screenshot, Yikian rubbed his eyes. A water purification device. It was actually this kind of thing. No wonder this woman was already extravagant enough to start taking showers. She probably obtained this device back at the first stop, so even the water used for showering could be filtered and recycled. And it wasn't just one. No, she must possess the blueprint for this device. Otherwise, why would she be willing to trade it? Do you have the blueprint? This device is enough to trade for the resources I need, right? She neither admitted nor denied it. Yikian put away his surprise. The blueprint for the water purification device was certainly precious, but it was someone else's property. He was already lucky enough. There was no need to envy others. We can trade. The two completed the transaction. Upon receiving the water purification device, Yikian discovered that it could be placed right between the sewage tank and the clean water tank of his water storage system. After activating the device, the purified water would automatically flow into the clean water tank and accumulate. This saved him quite a bit of trouble: sublimation. Having used sublimation so many times, Yikian roughly understood the rules of sublimation. Such small, level 1 items didn't consume much stamina. Refined water purification device, level 2, can purify 3 kilograms of water per hour. Can purify non-freshwater. It leveled up, the effect tripled, and it gained the ability to purify non-freshwater, meaning even seawater could be purified. Yikian was overjoyed. On a whim, Yikian sent another message to Shangyuan Yingsu. Can you already upgrade the train? Can you tell me what happens after the upgrade? He was a bit curious about what kind of upgrade options would appear for others after they upgraded their trains, and if they would be the same as his. Shangyuan Yingsu hesitated for a moment. Okay. Not long after, a screenshot was sent to Yikian. Level 2 train upgrade options are as follows: 1. Low-level carriage blueprint, 0 train coins. 2. Welding tool set, 2 train coins. 3. Wooden bed blueprint, 1 train coin. 4. Increase train stop time by 1 hour, 2 train coins. Option 1 and Option 4 were the same as when he upgraded. But the remaining 2 were different. I see. The carriage blueprint and stop time are fixed, while the remaining 2 items are random, and their quality varies as well. Shangyuan Yingsu's 2 random options were still much worse than the ones he had received. Yikian nodded in understanding, then saw Shangyuan Yingsu send another message. Do you have any train coins? No. Then are you still buying water? The corners of Yikian's mouth twitched. If it were before, he might have bought some as a backup, but now. Thinking about how the other party had started taking showers, and that the shower water would definitely be recycled using the water purification device, meaning if he bought more, he might end up buying her bath water. Not buying, all right. The chat ended. Yikian knew that the other party wanted to purchase train coins from him to buy options, but he didn't even have enough for himself. So how could he possibly trade them away? Besides, he already had an option he hadn't chosen yet. Train burst acceleration device blueprint, 5 train coins. One of the options unlocked after the train upgraded to level 2. For an average person, 5 train coins would probably take several platforms to accumulate. But at this moment, having just passed the second platform, Yikian had saved up enough capital to buy all the options. Purchase: Train burst acceleration device blueprint consumed 5 train coins. Current remaining train coins. 4 train burst acceleration device construction requires 50 kilograms of metal, 200 machine parts. After building the device, you can use materials to manufacture acceleration bullets. Using an acceleration bullet can increase the train's speed to 3 times its original speed within 10 minutes. So expensive. It's worthy of being a blueprint that costs 5 train coins to purchase. However, he was only missing a few parts, and he just happened to be able to afford them. Having passed the second stop, the items on the trading platform were much more abundant. And right now, what the vast majority of people needed was food and water. Coincidentally, he had food. Just because Yikian was picky about those few buckets of compressed biscuits didn't mean they lacked value. Chapter 12. Third platform Doomsday Town. It cost him 7 biscuits and a lot of persuasion to gather enough machine parts from the others. As expected, it's quite a hassle. Looking at the resources on hand, Yikian shook his head. No wonder Shangyuan Yingsu hated trading. He didn't like haggling with people either. Constantly adjusting prices back and forth for a tiny bit of food was a real waste of time. He placed the resources onto the processing table, and the blueprint for the acceleration device glowed with a deep blue light. Soon, machine and metal fused together, and a complex mechanical device appeared before Yikian. Train burst acceleration device note can only be installed on the train's main body. Place it next to the control system for automatic installation. Once installed, it can manufacture acceleration bullets. Acceleration bullet can be used up to 3 times per day. Production requirements: 1 kg metal, 20 machine parts, 1 train coin. Manufacturing bullets actually requires train coins. Yikian felt a bit helpless. I wonder what it will become after sublimation. Stamina, 55 mental power. 70. His stamina and mental power had recovered slightly after eating the white forest fruit, which was enough for 1 sublimation. Let's give it a try. After consuming 30 points of stamina and 40 points of mental power, the acceleration device underwent a change. Red triple speed train acceleration device standardized acceleration bullet can be used up to 5 times per day. Increases the train's speed to triple its original for 10 minutes. The frequency had increased to 5 times, though the speed remained unchanged. However, its potential seemed to be exhausted, meaning it couldn't be sublimated any further. Following the prompt, Yikian placed the acceleration device in front of the control system. A silver-white halo enveloped the device, and then a black aperture rose from the console. That was the slot for inserting the bullets. It's a bit expensive. Yikian spent 2 train coins to manufacture 2 acceleration bullets. Looking at the silver-white bullets, each as thick as a baby's arm, he felt a twinge of pain in his wallet. He put away his last 2 coins. Although he really wanted to test the power of the bullet's acceleration, he decided against it after some thought. He wasn't that extravagant yet. With everything settled, the next step was rest. Speaking of which, are the side effects of low mental power just empty words? How come I've never felt them? Stamina, 100 mental power, 100. Finally, everything is fully recovered. After a full night's rest, Yikian yawned and got out of bed in the warm, constant temperature carriage. He washed his face and walked to the end of the carriage humming a little tune. He dug a seed out of the gray-white soil and nodded, seeing that it hadn't changed at all. Let's try sublimation. Hopefully, it'll speed up the growth. Stamina, 70 blessed white forest fruit tree seed, 3 days to sprout, 3 days to grow, 3 days to ripen. Once mature, it can produce 1 blessed basin fruit every day. This actually works, and even the fruit got sublimated along with it. Yikian felt that the seed's potential wasn't enough to support another sublimation, but he could try again once they grew up. Digging a hole, burying it with soil, and watering it. Just as Yikian was about to return to the front of the train to enjoy breakfast, he stopped as he passed the garbage recycling device. Speaking of which, I think I said I'd give you a sublimation. Looking at the small robot that wasn't activated and looked entirely like a large matchbox, Yikian leaned over and tapped its iron head a few times. Sublimation. As usual, Yikian intended to use stamina for the sublimation, but for some reason, the consumed stamina was like a stone dropped into the ocean, with no response whatsoever. Did the sublimation fail? Yikian frowned. This was the first time something like this had happened. Trying again, this time he didn't consume stamina, but used mental power instead. Mental power. 60. The familiar glow began to emerge, and the power of sublimation enveloped the small robot. GT-1. Automatic treasure hunting robot. Upon arriving at a platform, it will automatically leave the train to lock onto treasure chests within the platform. Treasure chests that cannot be retrieved will be drawn into a map and handed to the master to obtain personally. Can be repaired using machine parts if damaged. Each use consumes 1 train coin. Will be forced back to the collection platform before the end of each platform visit. A pair of camera-like eyes rose from the matchbox, rotated 360 degrees, and finally locked onto Yikian's face. Master information confirmed. Train Captain ID E3 to 1102, Yikian. Please name the GT-1 model. If no name is provided, it will be automatically named. GT-1. Looking at its appearance, Yikian was inexplicably reminded of a character from a movie he had seen in his previous world. Wall-E. Naming complete. Entering sleep mode. Please consume a train coin to awaken upon arrival at a platform. Train coins again. Acceleration bullets need train coins, and so does the sublimated small robot. When it comes time to upgrade the train, it'll also cost train coins to buy upgrade options. It's even possible that some other sublimated items will require them too. Yikian felt like he was about to spend more than he earned. Right, at this time, many people probably don't know the effects of train coins yet. He suddenly thought of something. jogged back to the front of the train, opened the control system, and searched for keywords in the chat room, train coins. Have any of you opened a treasure chest? What are the train coins inside for? Who knows? Maybe they're the currency of this world and can be used to buy things at some platforms. You guys are so lucky to have even found a treasure chest. I don't even know what a treasure chest looks like. What's the use of opening them? There's not even a single bit of food. 2 platforms in a row have been garbage platforms. If this keeps up, I'll be eating dirt. As expected, they had no idea of the value of train coins. They were still worrying about survival. 1 compressed biscuit plus 1 bottle of drinking water, exchanging for 1 train coin. He listed the food and water on the trading platform. He watched for a while and then stopped paying attention. With this kind of fixed-price trade, it would be great if someone bought it, and if not, he wouldn't lose anything. Train time. 12:30 p.m. The prompt for the next platform choice at the Crossroads of Fate appeared before you key in right on time. Crossroads of Fate triggered. Please choose a stop from the following 2 platforms. Platform 1, Doomsday Town, Level 2 Mission Platform. Platform 2, Goblin Village, Level 2 Hunting Platform, Mission Platform. This was yet another new platform type. Compared to going to fight goblins, which was likely to be more trouble than it was worth, Yikian felt that option 1 was more suitable for him. Platform selection complete. Please sit tight and hold on. The 3rd platform the train is approaching is Doomsday Town. The train was accelerating. The space ahead gradually turned into a void. When the countdown reached 0, the surrounding world completely changed its appearance. Current platform, Doomsday Town docking countdown, 3:59:59. Good luck this platform. Danger, Chapter 13. Platform mission screech. The train came to a halt, and Yikian looked out the window. The world at this station wasn't as dark as the previous 2. On the contrary, the sun hanging high in the sky illuminated the entire land. This place was completely different from the previous 2 stations. The streets outside were covered in dark red stains, and rows of scrapped cars were jammed together. Doomsday Town. It lived up to its name. Hey, Wally, get up and get to work. Wally, initiating, feeling a bit of a sting in his wallet, Yikian tossed a train coin into Wally's coin slot. Watching it wobble away through the recycling device, Yikian seriously doubted if this fellow would be snatched away by some monster popping out and used as a toy. By the way, what is the mission for the mission platform? His confusion was soon answered. Observing through the window, Yikian spotted a corpse clutching a backpack. Inside that backpack, a piece of parchment could be seen fluttering in the wind. Something was clearly written on that parchment, but it was too far away to see clearly. Standing before the carriage door, Yikian did one final check of his equipment. Food, water, an exquisite rifle on his back, a black light pistol and a sharp dagger at his waist. And finally, he put on the high-grade ceramic plate bulletproof vest he had obtained from the treasure chest at the previous station. He had also performed a sublimation on this bulletproof vest, transforming it from a bloated barrel-like shape into a true vest without reducing its intended protective capabilities. Fully armed, he pressed the button. The train door opened. He stepped off and shut the door behind him. Only the train captain himself could open the train, so he wasn't afraid of anything sneaking in. A rolling heat wave hit him in the face, and the air was thick with a strange odor, like a mix of stinky salted fish and bread that had been rotting for a long time. Walking up to the corpse, Yikian used his gun barrel to pry open the backpack, revealing the full parchment inside. As you can see, I am a great courier. Yikian silently looked at the corpse lying on the ground. Great courier? He couldn't see it at all. As a courier for RUN Corporation, I bear the heavy responsibility of transporting supplies in this doomsday world. Only we can walk freely in this apocalypse. But well, I think I'm about to die. It wasn't hard to imagine that this courier had been quite humorous when he was alive. But the mission of a courier cannot be violated. Whoever sees my message, please deliver the items in my backpack to the silversmith shop in the southeast corner of this town. Once you deliver the items and present my RUN badge, the reward for this delivery job will be yours. Of course, you don't have to deliver it, whatever, I'm dying anyway. Are you really not going to deliver it? The reward is great tilde. Our RUN corporation is the best company in the entire wasteland tilde a courier, so that means this is the mission for the mission platform. What's in the backpack? With curiosity, Yikian fully opened the backpack. Aside from the parchment, he saw a cake kept in a sealed, transparent box, remarkably well preserved. 4 words were written on it in jam: "Happy Birthday." A birthday. Yikian silently picked up the backpack. Judging by the state of decay, this courier had been dead for a long time. He won't be celebrating the birthday, but the cake is still edible. He rummaged through the backpack and found a very mechanical-looking badge. The image formed by gears and metal on the badge was that of a running courier. On the back of the badge was a large RUN symbol. In addition, there was a map of the town. The red dot marked on the map should be the destination. Stowing the cake and the badge, Yikian headed toward the destination according to the map. The road was littered with corpses turned to bone, and dark red bloodstains told the story of the terrible events that had once occurred. What is that? He saw a hyena consuming a human corpse. Come to think of it, this was the first time he had seen a living creature other than himself in the survival world. Wait, was it really a living creature? The hyena seemed to hear a sound and turned its head toward Yikian. Only then did he see that this was no living dog. Its skull was rotting, its heart was exposed. It was clearly a zombie dog. Roar. The zombie dog let out a strange roar and immediately lunged at Yikian. Calm down, calm down. Suppressing the fear in his heart, he raised his pistol and pulled the trigger. Bang, 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 bang. He wasn't a sharpshooter. Although only one of the 5 bullets hit the zombie dog, its powerful force was enough to blast it into mincemeat. No, I have to leave quickly. The gunshots were loud. The entire town could probably hear them. Monsters like these zombie dogs might already be closing in on this area. Fortunately, the monsters he encountered weren't very smart. After a slight detour, Yikian successfully reached his destination, the silversmith shop. To his surprise, he didn't see any signs of monsters nearby. A bit strange. Is there really someone here? Looking at the tightly closed door of the shop, it was hard not to suspect that the people inside had long since died in the mouths of those monsters outside. Just as he was considering whether to pry the door open directly, the rolling shutter door in front of him was suddenly pulled open a crack. Yikian immediately raised his rifle and aimed it at the crack. Don't shoot. I'm human, not a zombie. Seeing the dark muzzle of the gun, the person inside the door quickly answered in a raspy voice. Are you the owner of this shop? Unable to see the appearance of the person inside, Yikian simply pulled out the badge. I'm a courier from RUN Corporation. The previous courier died halfway, and I'm taking over the delivery for him. When away from home, one's identity is whatever they claim it to be. In this unfamiliar apocalyptic wasteland world, being a courier seemed more likely to earn the respect of others. The rolling shutter door rose a bit more, revealing the scruffy, bearded face of a man in his 40s. Heth, I know you're a courier. Those who still dare to be outside now are either couriers, madmen, or monsters. Please come in. Yikian didn't move, still pointing the gun at the man's head as he pulled the sealed cake from the backpack. Forget going in. Here's your item. Where's the reward? The middle-aged man stared at the cake for a moment. What a pity. If only it could have arrived a bit earlier. Reward, right, reward. I'll go get it for you right now. He turned and left, and before long, a box was pushed out from under the shutter door and opened to reveal the items inside. Yikian was very familiar with those items, train coins. 3 train coins lay there quietly. Could it be that train coins are the universal currency in all station worlds? Otherwise, it would be hard to explain why the natives of this world also have such things. Just as Yikian was about to pick up the train coins, the man inside the shutter door suddenly reached out a hand and grabbed his gun barrel. Chapter 14. The monster's diary ferocious light revealed. Feeling the pulling force from the gun barrel, Yikian pulled the trigger without hesitation. Bang! Roar! A severed hand flew out as the rolling shutter door was smashed open. Only then did he finally see that the man inside was already bloated beyond recognition. Only a human face and the arm he had just shot off vaguely hinted at his original appearance. You're too late, too late. Why didn't you come sooner? My daughter just wanted to eat a cake. Why did you useless couriers take so long? Die, stay calm. Yikian took a deep breath, staring at the monster rushing toward him as he continued to pull the trigger. Bang, 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 3 consecutive shots hit their mark. His marksmanship was terrible, but the target was too large and too close for him to miss. However, even the power of the upgraded rifle failed to pierce the monster's hardened body. A punch landed on Yikian's chest, sending him flying. Yikian gritted his teeth and stood up, feeling his stomach churning violently. If not for the reinforced bulletproof vest acting as a buffer, he might have been knocked unconscious by that single blow. The monster shrieked and charged again. Bang, another shot. Useless. I'm not afraid of your bullets. He was met with even more bullets. Bang, bang, bang. Is that so? Why don't you look down? Yikian chuckled softly. The monster instinctively looked down, only to see its body riddled with holes. How is this possible? Futilda blowing on the muzzle, Yikian clutched his stomach and stood up. The blacklight enchanted pistol in his hand was emitting a faint, eerie glow. Blacklight enchanted pistol consumes stamina to convert into armor-piercing rounds. Yikian walked up to the monster, aimed the pitch-black muzzle at its skull, and pulled the trigger. Bang, phew, no wonder there were no traces of monsters around here. It's because this is a big monster's territory. After resting for a moment, Yikian stepped over the monster's corpse. He picked up the overturned cake from the floor, shook his head with some regret, and then stored it in his backpack along with the 3 train coins nearby. What a waste. He went to the rolling shutter door and opened it completely. The scene inside was unexpectedly clean. It really is a silversmith shop. Silver crossbow bolts, spearheads, and even crosses were scattered about on a cabinet. Yikian discovered a diary. March 1st, my daughter's birthday is in 10 days. I found 3 coins inside a broken locomotive outside the town. According to the town elders, these coins can make the RUN Corporation couriers deliver delicacies beyond our imagination. I want to buy my daughter a cake. As long as she eats the cake, her illness will surely be cured. After all, it's something beyond our imagination. March 5th, my daughter's illness is getting worse. She only wants to eat a piece of cake. Great courier, I beg of you, please come quickly. March 9th, daughter is looking forward to the cake tomorrow. But courier, where are you? March 11th, daughter is dead. She didn't get to eat that cake. Before she died, she asked me what cake tasted like. I told her it was sweet. Sweet. What does that taste like? Actually, I don't know either. She's dead. I can only bury her in the backyard so she won't turn into a zombie monster. March 15th. Heh. Why hasn't the courier arrived yet? I really want to see him, hee. If there's cake. The diary stopped there, followed by nothing but blood-red tear marks. Apparently, after March 15th, this man went completely insane and turned into that monster. Walking to the back door, Yikian saw a tombstone standing in the yard. He placed the cake in front of the tombstone. This counts as completing the mission, I suppose. The reward for the mission was the 3 train coins in his hand. It seemed this stop ended here. But one thing caught Yikian's attention. Outside the town, a broken locomotive. Could that be something left behind by a train captain like him? Or rather, had some train captain once come to this stop as well, only to stay here forever? Could it be that we aren't the first batch of survivors? Yikian's heart was filled with doubt, but there was no one to answer these questions for him. These silver items, they aren't meant for dealing with vampires, are they? In a corner of the shop, he also found a crossbow. Along with those bolts, Yikian stored them all in his backpack. So heavy. Taking one last look at the monster corpse on the floor, Yikian set out on the return journey. Docking countdown. 35:33, returning to the train took more time than traveling to the silversmith shop. There were more monsters in the town than he had imagined. If not for the extra hour gained from the upgrade, he probably would have had to force his way through the monster swarms instead of returning safely like this. Zombie dogs, zombie chickens, zombie cats. The only thing he didn't see were humanoid zombies. Wally hadn't returned yet, so Yikian was in no hurry to leave. With time still to spare, he organized his gains from this stop. Mithril crossbow bolt. Level 2, deals triple damage to the Blood Clan Mithril Cross. Level 2 prey, perhaps it will be useful. Mithril Ritual Sword, Level 2, deals unrecoverable damage to the Blood Clan. Aside from these 3 items, the remaining scraps were recycled using the processing table, ultimately yielding 10 kilograms of mithril. This much, in his former world, would have made him a minor wealthy man. Among these 3 mithril weapons, Yi Qian picked up the cross, thought for a moment, and began the sublimation. Stamina: 55 Sanctuary Mithril Cross, Level 3, can release holy light in the darkness, possesses immense lethality against the Blood Clan, evil spirits, demons, and similar existences. As for the other 2, to be honest, Yi Qian felt that since he couldn't even aim a pistol accurately, he'd likely have even less aim with the crossbow. As for engaging in melee combat with the Blood Clan, he had enough self-awareness to avoid that. Hanging the cross at the front of the train, he casually opened the trading platform and was surprised to see that the trade he had initiated had actually been accepted. Someone actually bought it. Looking at the shiny train coins in his hand, Yi Qian grabbed a fruit to eat while opening the chat interface. By this time, other train captains had already left their platforms. Chat room number of people: 7825/10,000. Another 1,000 people had stayed forever at their 3rd stop. And those who survived still had to face the challenges of survival: food, water, and medicine. Those who possessed these necessities were, in the end, only a minority. As for those striving to upgrade their trains, they were a minority among the extreme minority. Chapter 15. The 3rd station ends. What were your 3rd stations like? I was scared to death just now. The 3rd station sent me to a cave full of spiders. I didn't even dare get off the train. It was terrifying. I had pretty good luck. I only ran into a few wild dogs at the 3rd station. I had a gun I bought from the Big Shot and managed to kill my way through. I even got some meat to eat. Sigh, I'm so jealous you guys could buy guns from Big Shot Yi. By the way, why hasn't Big Shot Yi come out to say anything? He's collected so many resources, hasn't he broken through to level 2 yet? What Big Shot? That Yi Qian is just a short-sighted guy. My big brother Lai Ziasheng is about to upgrade to a level 2 train. You guys just wait and see. He saw a familiar name, Lai Ziasheng. Yi Qian remembered him saying he would complete the upgrade within 3 stations. Today happened to be the 3rd station. Hadn't he finished the upgrade yet? Just as Yi Qian was feeling curious, a message in the chat room suddenly caught his attention. Lai Ziasheng. I have completed the train upgrade. These are my upgraded train attributes and the upgrade options I received. As the first person to upgrade, I now invite companions with train coins to join the alliance I've created. For those who join first, I will provide today's food and water. The chat room exploded. Holy crap. Big Shot, please carry me. It's over. I used my 1 train coin to buy food and water. Whoever was on the transaction, I'll give you back the water. Can you give me back the train coin? What are train coins? Yi Qian didn't pay attention to what Lai Ziasheng said. His focus was entirely on the screenshot the other party had sent, more accurately, on the upgrade options. 1. Low-level carriage blueprint, 0 train coins. 2. Wooden automatic fishing rod blueprint, 1 train coin. 3. Low-limit survival ration 1-day recipe, 2 train coins. 4. Train stopping time increased by 1 hour, 2 train coins, as expected. The first and fourth options after upgrading were the same. Yi Qian had now completely confirmed this point. A fishing rod and survival rations. This guy's luck is pretty good. Rations were useless to him, but a fishing rod was a different story. If he went to a platform where he could fish one day, wouldn't he be left staring blankly without a rod? But there was no rush. It would be better to buy such things when they could actually be used. Anyway, with the crossroads of fate, he would always be able to learn about the platform's information and make a choice half an hour earlier than everyone else. It's also time to perform sublimation on the train again. The reason he hadn't continued the train's sublimation earlier, besides waiting for his stamina to recover, was primarily that he didn't have enough train coins to buy the items in the upgrade options. After building the acceleration device, manufacturing 2 acceleration bullets, and inserting a coin to start Wally, he only had 1 train coin left. Now that he had obtained 3 coins from the monster in the silversmith shop, he had 4 train coins. If Wally could successfully find this station's treasure chest, he could get even more. Yi Qian felt he could definitely give it a try. Just as he was preparing to attempt the train's sublimation, the sound of treads moving outside the train made him stop. He looked toward the sound. He saw Wally wobbling into the recycling device, holding a candy box stained with dark red marks. Injured, seeing several bite marks on Wally's body, the depth was clearly not something an ordinary animal could achieve. Before he could focus on the object it was holding, Yi Qian looked up outside the carriage. Over a dozen zombie dogs had actually appeared outside the train, pacing slowly. Behind them, several monsters similar to the Uncle Zombie monster from the silversmith shop were limping toward the train. Thump! Yi Qian helplessly tapped Wally's head. Stupid thing, you even led the monsters here. Wally didn't understand. It just silently raised its hands and handed the candy box to Yi Qian. Fine, considering you've done a good job. Level 2 treasure chest can be opened. Yi Qian picked up the treasure chest with a smile on his face. Even though he was surrounded by monsters outside, he didn't panic at all. This was only a level 2 platform, and on his train he had a level 4 defensive building. The moment the monsters approached within 100 meters of the train, the red light orbs in the sentry tower locked onto them. Red circles formed beneath the monsters' feet, equipped spears extended from the darkness. Bullets were fired, and every single shot of the continuous fire accurately hit the weak points of these monsters. In less than 10 seconds, the humanoid monsters along with the zombie dogs all fell. Yi Qian ate a white forest fruit, watching all this without much joy on his face. 0:08, 12 minutes left on the departure countdown. The gunshots just now were undoubtedly louder than the ones at the silversmith shop. I'm afraid the monsters of this entire town will come over. As expected, more and more monsters surrounded the train from all directions. Their bodies were fragile. The warning device only needed one shot to shatter their skulls. The larger humanoid monsters, whose defense was no better than the silversmith shop owners, only required 3 shots. It had to be said that the warning device's marksmanship was much better than his. 00:00:01 The countdown was about to end. As the monsters chased from behind, Yi Qian's train began to move forward. Passing through the void space in the blink of an eye, the scenery of Doomsday Town vanished, and that endless wilderness once again returned to Yi Qian's sight. Ding-dong. The broadcast sound rang out at this moment. All survivors have left the 3rd platform. Trading system restrictions released. Trading can now be conducted inside the platforms. Newbie protection period has ended. Survival mode is now active. Please pay attention to safety during night travel. Survivors whose train speed is below 30 kilometers per hour will enter a dangerous state. Please upgrade your train as soon as possible. Good luck to you all. I wish you. Survival. The chat room exploded once again. And this time it was even louder. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. What does this mean? Survival mode, night danger. Monsters will appear in the wilderness too. It's over, it's over. I exchanged all my resources for food. Ah, save me. Someone save me. I don't want to die. Brother Lai, help. Please give me some materials for upgrading. I've joined your alliance. TCH, a bunch of idiots. I knew this world wouldn't let us off so easily. I haven't sold any of the resources I've collected over these 3 stations. Isn't the real concern the time issue? Why was the broadcast sent an hour late again, just like at the end of the 1st station? Someone must have upgraded their train already, right? Didn't that guy Lai Ziasheng send a screenshot before? Upgrading to level 2 can increase the platform stopping time. But it's impossible to upgrade at the 1st station, right? That's for sure. No one could have completed the upgrade at the 1st station. After all, the trading system wasn't even open in the platform back then. But didn't Lai Ziasheng just say he was the first person to upgrade? It seems there are other experts out there. Chapter 16 Storage Unit Carriage. Unlike the lively scene in the chat room, Yi Qian's focus was not on that at the moment. 3rd station, Doomsday Town concluded. Killed 11 variant humanoid zombies, 28 zombie dogs, zombie cats. Kill rating. Grade a congratulations on completing the hidden mission. Town Liberator obtained mission reward. 1 carriage exchange voucher. So, this is the actual mission from the mission platform. He looked at the text on the light screen before him, then at the filthy Wally. Thanks to you, otherwise I would have missed all this. He patted Wally's iron head. A carriage, huh? He held the translucent voucher in his hand. It had the pattern of a carriage on it. Having enjoyed the constant temperature carriage for a few days, Yikian was quite looking forward to a new carriage, Sublimation. Carriage exchange voucher. Right arrow. Special carriage exchange voucher can be exchanged for a level 2 special carriage. Use. The voucher burned in midair. Obtained level 2 carriage. Low-level storage carriage. Possesses 48 storage units. Each unit can store an unlimited amount of a single type of item. Cannot store living creatures. This was a good thing. Thinking back to when he first started collecting resources, wood and metal were piled everywhere, leaving no space for him to even sleep in the locomotive. With this carriage, he could completely free up a massive amount of space on the train. I can do one more sublimation. He couldn't wait to use his talent again. He went to the end of the second carriage. Through the window, he saw a carriage drop precisely from midair onto the tracks and couple with his train. The door at the connection point opened. Walking inside, 48 storage cabinet-like units were arranged evenly along both sides of the carriage. Sublimation. Stamina. 55 right arrow 30 mental power. 80 right arrow 55 upgrading a level 1 ordinary carriage to a level 2 special carriage consumed 20 stamina, but upgrading a level 2 special carriage to level 3 consumed a total of 50 points. It had more than doubled. Yikian's body fell into a state of exhaustion once again, but his eyes shone with a different light. Storage unit carriage level 3 possesses 51 storage units. Any unit has unlimited storage. Items placed inside will not decay or break. Cannot store living creatures. 3 units in the storage carriage can follow the train captain and be accessed at any location. The sublimated storage carriage seemed to only have 3 more units and the non-decaying attribute, but these 3 units were absolutely not a simple addition. Follow the train captain and be accessed at will. Isn't this just a portable space? He impatiently put several white forest fruits into one of those 3 units. Yikian returned to the locomotive. With a thought, he reached out into the air, and a fresh white forest fruit appeared in his hand just like that. Clearly, this sublimation was a massive profit, eating the white forest fruit to recover stamina. Yikian threw all the resources in the carriage into the ordinary units. The train's space instantly became much cleaner and more spacious. As for those 3 special units, one was naturally for white forest fruits, and for the other 2, Yikian only put in some bullets and drinking water. This way, when he left the train to explore the platforms, his load would be much lighter. Right, there's also the treasure chest. Taking out the level 2 treasure chest Wally had brought back for him, Yikian did a quick calculation. Upgrading a level 3 chest to level 4 requires 55 points, and 1 to 2 was 37 points, so 2 to 3 should be at most 40-something points. If he pushed himself a little, it would be enough. Sublimation. Stamina. 30 right arrow 20 mental power. 55 right arrow 20 warning. Entering exhaustion state warning. Entering sanity dissipation state. He had guessed correctly. 45 points of mental power were spent. Yikian panted heavily, his eyelids heavy as he forced his last bit of strength to look at the treasure chest in front of him. The candy box before his eyes had changed upon re-identification. Level 3 treasure chest can be opened. Opening level 3 treasure chest obtained train coins. 6 obtained. Zombie Slayer level 3 3 vials of virus serum windproof lighter 3 rewards. Hard to say if they were good or bad. The Zombie Slayer was a chainsaw sword modified from a chainsaw, possessing a 3x damage bonus against zombie-type monsters. As for the remaining 2, their functions were exactly as their names suggested. The serum might be useful at some point. As for a windproof lighter opened from a level 3 treasure chest, in a sense, it was also quite precious. But that wasn't important. He had obtained another 6 train coins from the level 3 treasure chest. Adding that to what he had before, it was a full 10 train coins. At this time, it was impossible for anyone to have more than him. He wanted to take all the upgrade options that would appear for the next train upgrade, and before the sublimation, he had something important to do, and that was sleep. He was tired, 10 points of stamina. This was the first time he had pushed himself so hard. He truly felt the discomfort of what was called exhaustion. As for the sanity dissipation mentioned in the warning, he didn't feel anything at all. While Yukian was resting, the chat room was still incredibly heated. Countless people were buying materials from each other to upgrade their trains. But how many people were actually qualified to buy them? If only upgrading could guarantee survival. Then out of these remaining few thousand people, it would be lucky if 1/10 survived. Therefore, someone soon discovered that the speed required by the train broadcast was only 30 kilometers per hour, while the speed after the upgrade was a full 40 kilometers. So, did that mean the train could have its speed-related parts upgraded individually, namely the wheels? Someone made an attempt. Using 1/5 of the metal and 1/3 of the machine parts required for a full train upgrade, they actually managed to complete an individual upgrade of the wheels, bringing the train speed up to the required 30 kilometers per hour. As soon as this news appeared, metal and machine parts immediately became the most sought-after resources. Almost everyone wanted to buy these two materials, even if doing so would lead to a higher total material cost for the overall train upgrade later. But to stay alive, who could care about that much? And before this, Lai Ziasheng, who had just said he would form an alliance to collect train coins, had a very ugly expression on his face. Who exactly was that person who had upgraded their train one step ahead of him? How could someone accumulate materials faster than me? I'm clearly the chosen one. On his personal interface, there was a line for his talent, resource radar. Before arriving at the next station platform, one type of basic train resource must be selected. There will be a high probability that collectible resources of that type will appear at the next station. Metal, machine parts, wood. It took Lai Ziasheng 3 stations to collect all the resources needed for the upgrade. He couldn't understand who could possibly be faster than him. Chapter 17. Level 3 Train. Another record breaker. Bang, bang, so noisy. Intense gunfire echoed across the wilderness. Yi Qian was jolted awake by the sound. He opened his weary eyes and instinctively looked out the window. Pairs of crimson eyes were chasing the train beneath the night sky. What the hell are those? Scared the life out of me. The terrifying sight cleared his head instantly. He rushed to the front of the train, only to find that the alarm system had already been activated. Wait, is this the nighttime danger the broadcast mentioned? Yi Qian recalled the words from the broadcast after the 3rd station ended. Crimson Moon Wolf, Level 1, Hunting Speed. 25 km/h. Looking at the monster information identified by the train, he breathed a small sigh of relief. Fortunately, if the train's speed exceeded 30 kilometers per hour, it wouldn't be judged as being in a dangerous state. A Level 2 train could reach speeds of 40 kilometers per hour, so he didn't need to worry too much about being caught by these monsters. After washing his face with fresh water and feeling the cold wind, Yi Qian was now completely awake. 01:44:13 in the morning. All traces of sleepiness were gone. He opened the chat room, and the moment he saw the numbers, his pupils constricted. 4130/10,000 wait. How many people were there during the day? He vaguely remembered it being over 7,000, nearly 8,000. That meant that during the time he was asleep, over 4,000 people had already died in the wilderness, and that number was still increasing. A sudden chill caused cold sweat to break out on Yi Qian's back. Thinking about it carefully, the dangers of the night were even more vicious than the platforms. If the train speed couldn't exceed 30 km/h, they would be overtaken by these monsters and become their meal. But among the survivors who had passed 3 stations, how many had actually reached Level 2? After surviving this night of terror, those who remained could truly be considered survivors. To stay alive, one had to go all out to upgrade their train and explore the platforms. Staying inside the train to hide like before was almost impossible now. Forcing himself to calm down, a message notification on the private chat interface caught his attention. Shangyu and Yingsu, still alive. Just woke up. What do you want to buy? A moment later, the other party replied. Bullets, I'm all out. I can't sell those. I don't have many left either. Yiqian refused Shangyu and Yingsu's trade. With the alarm system, his bullet consumption had skyrocketed. The slaughter at the end of the third station alone had cost him nearly 70 rounds. Calculating carefully, Yiqian only had about 300 rounds left. He couldn't possibly sell them. Don't you have a blueprint for bullets? Of course not. If only I did. Understood. Goodbye. The chat ended. Shangyu and Yingsu's vigorous and resolute personality made communicating with her quite easy. Yiqian sat in his chair and opened his personal information. Stamina. 82 mental power, 110 it's recovered. Wait. The hand closing the personal info window froze in midair. He rubbed his eyes, looked at the two crucial stats of stamina and mental power, and pinched himself. Hiss, my mental power cap increased. What happened? Did I do something? He tried hard to recall what happened before he fell asleep. Other than completely exhausting his stamina and mental power, nothing else seemed to have happened. Right? Yiqian shook his head, burying the doubt in his heart. Regardless, an increase in mental power was a good thing for him. He stood up and reached out to touch the control console. It's time. Having passed 3 stations, it was time for the next sublimation of his train. An invisible power enveloped the entire train. Stamina and mental power drained away frantically like water from a burst dam. From level 1 to level 2, he had only consumed 30 points of stamina. But from level 2 to level 3, it was clearly not going to be that simple. Stamina. 82 right arrow 52 mental power. 110 right arrow 50 train upgrade complete. Current level. 3 materials required for the next train upgrade. 300 kg wood. 300 machine parts, 450 kg metal, 10 kg glass, 5 kg gold, 5 kg mithril, 1 flame stone upgrade options unlocked. Congratulations on breaking the record for the fastest level 3 train. You have received 1 train captain module card, 90 points. It had tripled compared to before. Yiqian rubbed the space between his eyebrows. What about level 3 to 4 then? Would it be triple this or even more? But to expect him to obediently use materials for upgrades, forget it. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. Looking at the materials needed for the next level, he had mithril, and it was possible to get gold. But what on earth was that flame stone? He had never even heard of it. Better check the changes after the upgrade first. I hope the upgrade options aren't too bad. First was the speed, which increased from 40 km/h to 60 km/h. Next, the chassis, wheels, and frame, needless to say, had all reached level 3 strength, capable of withstanding more attacks. Just like last time, the important parts were the upgrade options and the record-breaking module card. The difference was that this time it was a train captain module. View upgrade options. Opening. Options are as follows. 1. Train Captain Module Card, Departure Rights, 3 Train Coins 2. Bullet Level 3 Manufacturing Blueprint, 4 Train Coins 3. Power Generation Device Manufacturing Blueprint, Level 3, 6 Train Coins 4. Increase docking time by 1 hour, 1 train coin. It really is ask and you shall receive. Looking at the contents of the upgrade options, Yiqian was blooming with joy internally. Setting aside the 4th option, which was likely an inherent upgrade, the other 3 undoubtedly hit his needs. He lacked bullets, and here came a blueprint, and a level 3 one at that. More importantly, there was the power generator blueprint. Although he didn't have a place that needed electricity yet, he would definitely need it in the future. The only part that made Yiqian feel a pang of pain was the cost. He thought that having 10 train coins would make him somewhat wealthy, but he never expected that he still couldn't buy all the upgrade options at once. He had to make a choice. What are departure rights? Train Captain Module Card. Departure rights after use. You can leave the platform 1 hour early. Good stuff. With this module, if he encountered any danger, he could leave the platform early, even if it was only by 1 hour. After thinking for a moment, he pulled out 8 train coins and bought options 1, 2, and 4. Although he really wanted the generator, The other three were equally important, especially that module. Bullet Blueprint Level 3. Each set requires 3 kg metal, 500 g gunpowder, 100 bullets per set. The materials needed to make bullets weren't many, but where was he supposed to get gunpowder? There was some for sale on the trading platform, but the quantity was extremely small, not even enough to make one set. Should he try to buy some in the chat room? Yikian shook his head. Even if he were to buy some, now wasn't the time. He had more important things to do. Module, departure rights. Sublimation, stamina, 32 mental power, 30 train captain module card, departure VIP rights. When the docking countdown has 3 hours remaining, the train can be started and leave the platform at any time. Chapter 18, Advanced Module. Trial by gunfire. With his benefits upgraded to VIP, the departure time became more flexible. Finally, there was the train conductor module card rewarded for breaking the record. Red. Unlike the special module card, the train conductor module card was a blood-like red. The pattern on it wasn't a train either, but an abstract eye shape. My stamina and mental power are both insufficient. He suppressed the urge to open it immediately. Yikian lay motionless on the cold train floor, so tired. It seemed that since he arrived in this world, he had been exhausted every single moment. However, because of this, he could still sleep soundly even in this terrifying wilderness. Clutching the train conductor module card, Yikian fell into a deep sleep. Tonight, few people could sleep. The pursuit of death plunged the chat room into boundless fear. They're still chasing me. What should I do? I won't be caught, will I? Didn't they say it would be fine if the speed exceeded 30 kilometers? Why are there monsters among them that exceed that speed? The broadcast only said we wouldn't enter a danger state, not that it's truly safe. In my opinion, only reaching level 2 and a speed of 40 kilometers can be truly safe. Damn it, if someone hadn't bought all my resources, I definitely could have upgraded to level 2 as well. I think those monsters shouldn't be able to catch up, only a few are fast enough. Luckily, I bought a gun from a big shot and it saved my life. Sigh, unfortunately, I only have 3 bullets left now. Stop chatting and save your energy. Tomorrow is the 4th platform. Sigh. This is only the first night. Will there be even more monsters tomorrow? This world doesn't want us to live at all. Get some rest early. Tomorrow is the 4th platform. I hope the 4th platform is a safe platform. At least let me collect enough resources to strengthen the train. Things did not go as planned. 0630, 00 the train broadcast rang out at this time. Sector E3, the first night survival has ended. Number of survivors, 3,825 people. The second night survival will begin in 3 days. Those whose train speed is lower than 40 kilometers per hour will enter a danger state. Please increase your train speed as soon as possible. Friendly reminder. Please take protective measures. The broadcast's voice was so gentle, but the words spoken made people feel as if they had fallen into an ice cellar. The second night's survival in 3 days required the train speed to reach 40 kilometers. In other words, in the next 3 platforms, if they couldn't upgrade their train to level 2, the only path left for them was elimination. The survivors, who already found it hard to sleep, were now plunged into madness. It really doesn't want us to live. Where am I supposed to get materials? Out of the first 3 platforms, I only encountered a forest in one. The other 2 were a struggle just to get off the train. It's not fair. It's over. It's really over. I used everything to trade for wheel upgrade materials. No wood, no parts. How can I gather enough in 3 platforms' time? Right, brother lie, please help me. I'm a member of your alliance. You can't just watch me die. Yes, brother lie, I have train coins. I'll give them to you right now. Please help me think of something. Looking at the pleading messages on the chat interface, the corners of Lai Ziasheng's mouth curled up. He didn't lack resources. As long as he used his talent step by step to increase the resource drop rate, it would only take about 3 platforms to upgrade again. As long as the train upgrades still required basic metal, wood, and mechanical parts, each of his upgrades wouldn't take more than 3 platforms, although he didn't know who that guy was who had upgraded a step ahead of him. Lai Ziasheng just assumed the other party had too much luck. He was different. He achieved it through hard work using his unique ability step by step. With that thought, Lai Xiaosheng sent a message in the chat interface. Everyone, do not panic. For those who have already joined my alliance, I will definitely find a way to help you complete your first upgrade. After saying that, he suddenly thought of someone. Right, that guy named Yi Qian shouldn't be dead, right? He sold so many guns. Logically, he should be close to completing his upgrade. Could it be that the person who got ahead was him? The more he thought about it, the more likely it seemed. Lai Xiaosheng immediately sent a private chat invitation to Yi Qian. However, only after sending it did he suddenly realize he didn't even have Yi Qian as a friend. This guy didn't even take the initiative to add me. Forget it. For the sake of him having guns, I'll give this guy another chance. Friend request sent. Then it was like a stone sinking into the ocean, no response. Ouch, my poor lower back. Having slept on the floor for most of the night, Yi Qian had been incredibly uncomfortable. Dazedly, he took out a white forest fruit from the storage unit, washed his face and watered the sapling while he was at it. He glanced at the time. 8:34:44, I actually slept for so long. Eating the fruit, his mind cleared up. The next night's survival is in 3 days, 40 kilometers. Well, it has nothing to do with me anyway. Hiss, why is it so cold today? Yi Qian yawned and opened the train window. A bone-chilling cold rushed in. Is today's weather a bit strange? In the wasteland these past few days, every day had been sunny and cloudless. But today, the sun was shrouded in dark clouds, and the oppressive atmosphere felt as if it were about to crush the entire world. Yi Qian looked for a moment before withdrawing his gaze, turning his attention to his right hand. More accurately, to the card held in his right hand. Train Conductor Module card, the second module rewarded for breaking the record. If it hadn't been for his low stamina and mental power last night, Yi Qian wouldn't have been able to wait until now to open it. Stamina. 82 mental power. 110, my stamina still hasn't recovered to the maximum. Did I consume too much? Forget it. Having mental power is enough. Talent triggered. Invisible power enveloped the red card. Sublimation, he thought silently. A sensation of draining emerged from within his body. Sublimation complete. Train Conductor Module card, right arrow Train Conductor, Advanced Module card, Mental Power. 110, right arrow 80, Opening Train Conductor, Advanced Module card. Obtain Train Captain, Advanced Module. Trial by Gunfire. Trial by Gunfire, mastery of any firearm. Shooting talent significantly improved. Can consume mental power to strengthen a single bullet. The next shot will perform a judgment on the target, increasing power based on the target's sins. An inexplicable sensation flooded his mind. Yi Qian pulled out the black light pistol from his waist. The original awkwardness was completely gone. Holding the gun, he felt as if he had become a battle-hardened gunslinger. Even a seemingly casual shot could hit whatever target he desired. Chapter 19. The fourth station, it actually gave me the sharpshooter ability directly. With this ability, Yi Qian felt that if he encountered those zombie monsters again, he wouldn't necessarily have to hide. After digesting all the rewards and having nothing to do, Yi Qian ate a fruit and opened the private message interface of the chat room. He had a bit of fame among this batch of survivors, after all. Perhaps someone would take the initiative to trade with him. It would be a pity to miss out on blueprints or train coins. Lai Xiaosheng, isn't that the 3-station guy, inviting me to join an alliance? What was that again? Yi Qian recalled carefully and finally remembered what the alliance Lai Xiaosheng mentioned was. Alliance. It always feels very unreliable. After hesitating for a moment, Yi Qian chose to accept Lai Xiaosheng's friend request. Even though this guy wasn't the same kind of person as him, he should have some train coins in his hands. Trading with him was fine, as long as he didn't get too deeply involved. On the other side, Lai Xiaosheng, who was competing with others for the fishing rod business, saw the notification that his friend request had been accepted. He remembered that he had only proactively added one person. Do you finally know to contact me, Yi Qian? Is the fishing rod made yet? Seeing the message from Yi Qian, Lai Xiaosheng frowned. Brother Yi, long time no see. Have you completed your first train upgrade? Is the fishing rod for sale? How many materials? Yikian didn't bother to answer his question and continued to state his needs. Haha, of course it's for sale, but I can also give it to you for free. There was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Yikian was already waiting for the but that would follow. You only need to join my alliance. All members of my alliance only need to contribute 5 kilograms of wood or 1 train coin, and I will give away a day's worth of rations and a fishing rod. You should have seen it before. After I upgraded to level 2, I can manufacture life-sustaining rations. I know you've accumulated a lot of food and water by selling guns, and you even took over 100 kilograms of metal from me, presumably to manufacture firearms. But food will always run out, and firearms will eventually become hard to sell. Join my alliance, cooperate with me, and arm our alliance members with firearms. When we can meet in the future, we will immediately become the greatest power. Yikian finished reading this long string of messages with a calm gaze, chewing on a white forest fruit as he typed his response. So, is the fishing rod for sale? If not, forget it. Lai Xiaosheng wasn't the only person selling fishing rods. There was someone who had obtained the blueprint for a mechanical fishing rod at the very first station. That person was still alive and was also selling fishing rods, though very few people were willing to buy them. Seeing that Lai Xiaosheng didn't reply further, Yikian didn't bother to look anymore. He searched for the keyword fishing rod directly in the chat room and quickly found that person. Is the fishing rod for sale? Yes. See, this was the kind of seller people liked. Yikian traded 20 mechanical parts plus a biscuit to the other party and obtained a mechanical fishing rod. Hey, it's even automatic. This is much better than a wooden fishing rod. Yikian nodded in satisfaction and immediately began sublimation. Low-grade mechanical fishing, rod right arrow, low-grade alluring mechanical fishing, rod no bait required. It is easier to attract fish after being cast into the water. Yikian set the fishing rod aside and happened to see a new friend request. It was the person who sold him the fishing rod, named Zhao Lin. He chose to accept. Boom time 12:30:00, a loud boom echoed from the gloomy sky. Inside the constant temperature carriage, Yikian looked toward the sky through the window. The black clouds were oppressively heavy, making it hard to breathe. A drop of rain fell from the sky, quickly turning into an endless downpour. Ding-dong, the broadcast sounded. Today is a thunderstorm day. Attention, all train captains. The next station has a high probability of entering a thunderstorm weather platform. It is recommended to wear rain gear. There's even such a thing. So the weather in the wilderness world actually affects the platforms. They clearly don't seem like the same world at all. Yikian looked at his next crossroads of fate. Crossroads of fate triggered. Please choose between the following 2 platforms to stop at Platform 1. Thunderstrike Goblin Tribe Level 3 Hunting Platform. Platform 2. Quiet Rain Manor Level 3 Mission Platform. As expected, the platform levels have increased again. When the train upgrades, the platforms also upgrade. And why is it goblins again? Yikian always felt that he had quite a fate with goblins. He was only about to experience his 4th station, yet goblin-related platforms had appeared 3 times. Following this trend, it felt like there would eventually be a time when he would be forced to choose a goblin platform. Even so, he didn't plan on choosing this one. One must have self-knowledge. At least for now, he didn't plan on entering a place as dangerous-looking as a hunting platform. As for the second option, nothing could be discerned from the name, but that didn't mean there was no danger. Don't forget that the previous Doomsday Town, as a mission platform, also contained a considerable amount of danger. If his equipment hadn't been sophisticated enough and he hadn't had the warning device, anyone else would have had no chance of clearing it, let alone completing the hidden mission. Select Platform 2. Platform selection complete. Please sit tight and hold on. The 4th station the train is arriving at is Quiet Rain Manor. The train was accelerating. The space ahead was becoming void. The raindrops falling from the sky turned into a thin film enveloping the front of the train, accompanied by thunder and a stretch of darkness. The surrounding space suddenly underwent a massive change. Current platform. Quiet Rain Villa stopping countdown. 4:59:59. Good luck this station. Danger through the train window, Yikian saw the scene outside. The place where he stopped was a broken mountain road. In the dark environment, only the sound of the continuously falling raindrops outside could be heard. A flash of lightning and a roll of thunder finally allowed Yikian to see a police car emitting green smoke and several corpses wearing police uniforms not far away. Could it be like before, where there will be zombies? Forget it. Let's wake up Wally first. Wally, activate. He inserted one of his last 2 train coins into Wally's body. Watching the little robot wobble out of the train, Yikian began to make his final preparations for heading out. First were the 3 special storage units. Besides the white forest fruit and bullets in the last unit, he placed the 3 vials of virus serum obtained from the previous station and sublimated by him. Blessed virus serum can treat zombie virus/vampire transformation/ghost corrosion/disease infection, and can recover from injuries when damaged. The serum, that originally could only treat the zombie virus, had transformed into a different kind of health potion after sublimation. Secondly, the pistol, rifle, dagger, bulletproof vest, plus the mithril cross, fully armed and donning a raincoat he had traded for, Yikian pressed the door opening button. Chapter 20. Stormy Manor, Deduction. Eerie braving the wind and rain, he walked straight to the wrecked police car. After observing for a while, and finding no signs of corpse transformation among the several bodies on the ground, Yikian began his search. Finally, he found a voice recorder beside the body of a police officer. We received a report from Gloomy Rain Manor on Mount Davil. The local tycoon Ravi died up there. Sigh, I really don't understand these rich people. How many people have died in that manor over the years? Why do people still want to live there? This godforsaken place takes 2 or 3 days to drive to from my town. It's so far away, it's irritating. However, this tycoon is one of our police station's investors. No matter how reluctant we are, we have to find his killer. As long as we find the murderer, his daughter will surely provide more investment to our station. As for the real culprit, it's probably Ravi's maid. Who knows? If we can't catch the real killer, we'll just frame her. It's not the first time we've done something like this anyway, haha. Is this the mission? No, or rather, is this just the mission on the surface? Yikian searched for a while longer and eventually found 2 handguns and 4 magazines filled with low-level bullets on the police car, plus a police stun baton. Anyone else finding these things would be ecstatic. Unfortunately, they weren't very useful to him. Tossing them back onto the train and taking the police badge and the sheriff's identification, Yikian walked up the winding mountain road. Gloomy Rain Manor was not far from where the train was parked. In less than 15 minutes, Yikian stood before the iron gates of a massive black estate. A nervous security guard came running over from the gate. Who are you? Yikian showed his credentials and police badge. In this dark, thunderous weather, it was enough to make the other party believe his disguised identity. So it's the sheriff. Please come in. The security guard hurriedly opened the gate and welcomed Yikian inside. The sheriff is finally here. Please, you must find the real killer who murdered the master. The security guard looked as if he were weeping bitterly, giving the impression of being loyal and devoted. How did Mr. Ravi die? The master passed away 4 nights ago. Besides me, there's only his son and daughter, the butler, and a maid left in the manor. Mr. Sheriff, I think it was that maid who killed the master. Please, you must arrest her. Yikian stopped walking and looked at the security guard beside him. 4 days ago. In other words, you waited a full day after Mr. Ravi's death to report it. Why? The security guard quickly explained. Because it's been raining all week, the manor's phone lines and internet have been affected. We only managed to get a call out 3 days ago to summon you. Since then, we've been waiting in the manor. No one dared to leave. Well, isn't this just a stormy manor scenario? Yikian had played many murder mystery games with similar settings before. However, if it were really that simple, why would this place be rated as a Level 3 mission platform? One must know that even a Level 2 mission platform already had monsters like zombies. Level 3. Could it be this ordinary? Yikian didn't believe it would be that simple. The more it seemed like this, the more likely some invisible danger was hidden. Just as the two were about to enter the manor's castle, a shrill scream suddenly came from overhead. Ah, looking toward the sound, a bolt of lightning streaked across. A woman's corpse actually fell from the sky and crashed into the lawn nearby. Blood, mudded by rain, flowed outward, gathering into a crimson stream on the ground. But Yikian's gaze remained fixed on the spot from which the body had fallen. He saw a shadow that clearly did not belong to a human. Moreover, did you feel it? The Holy Hall mithril cross worn on his chest was emitting heat. As expected, it's not that simple. Ah, the maid is dead. The security guard beside him screamed in terror. An old man with a white beard immediately ran out of the castle. The moment he saw the old man, the security guard screamed loudly and ran away. It's you killed her. The old man's face turned ashen. Watching the security guard's figure disappear into the darkness, he finally sighed. I'm sorry you had to see that. I am the butler of this house. Are you? The sheriff from outside. You're quite young. Sigh. Another one dead. Just what is going on? Another. Besides Master Ravi and this lady just now, who else has died? Yikian forced himself not to look at the bloody corpse on the ground, but the butler seemed already accustomed to it. He picked up the corpse and walked to the side of the lawn, where there were several pits that looked like they had been prepared long ago. He threw the corpse into one of them. There were 5 pits, and 3 of them already contained bodies. The butler gave a bitter smile. Please come inside first, Mr. Sheriff. Entering the castle, the cold sensation did not fade. In fact, Yikian felt as if something was casting its gaze upon him, making his skin crawl. Would you like coffee or tea? Hot water is fine. Please wait a moment. Soon, a cup of coffee was placed before Yikian. He didn't drink it, but asked the butler directly, what exactly is going on here? Didn't you say the only deceased was Master Ravi, but just now? The butler sighed. Under the dim candlelight, his bloodshot eyes were truly unsettling. 4 days ago, indeed, only the master died. The eldest miss and the eldest young master had a fierce argument. The eldest miss believed the maid killed the master, while the eldest young master, who was having an affair with the maid, naturally protected her. The two had a huge row. The next morning, I found the eldest miss's body in the attic. The security guard was in love with the eldest miss and went mad that very day. On the 3rd day, the eldest young master died as well. Today is the 4th day. I feel that I will die sooner or later too, so yesterday I dug burial pits for the 5 of us. When I die, there will at least be a place to be buried. He, Mr. Sheriff, this manor is cursed. Everyone who lives here will die. I should have dissuaded the master back then. He shouldn't have been greedy for a bargain and bought this place. Sigh. It's all too late, it's all over. You should leave as soon as possible. As expected, the deduction turned into the supernatural. Yikian gripped the cross. If he didn't have this Holy Hall cross, he really would have wanted to leave immediately. He took a deep breath and continued questioning. Since this situation has occurred, why? Are you still here? The butler looked up and pulled a desolate smile. I've tried, but I can no longer leave this manor. I cannot walk out of the manor's gates. I told the security guard before that if a sheriff came, he shouldn't let you in, but I'm sorry. If you can't leave either, I will dig a grave for you. Chapter 21. The Almighty is hungry. What do you mean by that curse you mentioned? The old butler stared at Yikian's young face, slightly stunned to see no trace of fear upon it. Aren't you afraid? Yikian stood up and looked toward the solid wood staircase leading to the upper floors of the castle. I forgot to tell you, besides being a sheriff, I also moonlight as a priest. Since something like this has happened, I naturally won't leave so easily. He pulled the mithril sanctuary cross from his robe. A gentle holy light dispelled the surrounding darkness, and within this radiance, Yikian seemed to become the spokesperson for a deity. The old butler's mouth hung open. He rubbed his eyes vigorously, looking at the young man before him in disbelief. He stood dazed for a long while until the light faded. It wasn't until Yikian coughed twice that he finally came back to his senses. Praise the heavens. We're saved. With his secondary identity as a priest, Yikian quickly learned the secrets of the manor from the old butler. The first owner of this manor was secretly a bloodthirsty madman. Once, a prey escaped to the police station, so the manor owner used his own maid as a scapegoat and threw her into prison. There she was tortured for days by a sheriff who was in league with the owner, forced to confess, and then executed. Over the next few days, the manor was blanketed by a thunderstorm, and all contact with the outside world vanished. When the rainy night finally passed, the vegetable delivery man discovered that everyone in the manor had died a violent death, including the sheriff who had been committing adultery with the manor owner's wife. Over the next 30 years, the manor changed hands over a dozen times. Every single owner died a violent death during a rainy night. The current manor owner, Ravi, didn't believe in ghosts or gods. Although he possessed significant wealth, he was a miser. Upon learning that such a massive manor was available for a very cheap price, and even exempted from taxes, he bought it immediately, and then, as you can see, a rainy night, communication cut off, death. The only difference is that we managed to contact the outside police station once and brought you here. Perhaps you really can break the curse. Where did that maid die? I mean, the maid of the first owner. It should be the bell tower at the highest point of the castle. Yikian already knew what to do. The so-called curse was likely something similar to an earthbound spirit. In that case, as long as his cross could defeat that earthbound spirit, this mission would be easily resolved. He didn't think about what would happen if he couldn't. There was no point. Carrying an oil lamp and led by the old butler, Yikian continuously climbed the castle's stairs. A cold aura echoed through the castle, and the rhythmic dripping of leaking rainwater added an even more eerie tone to the atmosphere. Upon reaching the topmost bell tower, the cross held in his palm instinctively began to emit waves of heat. It's right here. The old butler didn't dare enter. Yikian gritted his teeth and stepped into the bell tower alone. The moment he entered the bell tower, he immediately felt himself being locked onto by something that was now hurtling toward him. Coming so fast. Shine. The mithril sanctuary cross released a gentle light that illuminated the bell tower. A shrill scream echoed through the night sky. Clang! Yikian looked down and saw a smooth, translucent skull land by his feet. Over Yikian felt a sense of unreality. He pinched his thigh, it hurt, so he wasn't dreaming, or was this an illusion? He searched the area for a while longer, but found nothing besides that smooth skull, which meant it really was over. Looking at the cross in his hand, Yikian suddenly felt that perhaps he had underestimated it. Without a doubt, exploring this mission platform would be absolutely dangerous for anyone else. But it just so happened that the one who came was Yikian, and it just so happened that Yikian held the sublimated sanctuary cross. Think about it. If he didn't have the sublimation ability and hadn't transformed the level 2 mithril cross into the current sanctuary cross, he would have had no way to resist when faced with such weirdness. Phew. Yikian exhaled deeply. In any case, although this stop seemed to be ending rather abruptly, what was so bad about that, picking up the smooth skull from the ground, he didn't know what it was for, but since it had dropped, there was no reason not to take it. You're out. The old butler waiting outside wiped the cold sweat from his brow. He had heard the noises from the bell tower, and seeing the skull in Yikian's hand, he recoiled several steps in fear. No need to be afraid. The curse in this manor has been resolved by me. This skull is the physical form of the curse. Heavens bless us, heavens bless us. Thank you for coming and saving us. Leaving the top floor with the old butler, the thunderstorm outside showed no signs of weakening. This was normal. An earthbound spirit that could be instantly killed wasn't the culprit behind summoning the thunderstorm. Conversely, it was precisely because such weather occurred that the earthbound spirit was brought into existence. With the manor's lockdown lifted, Yikian had no intention of returning immediately. How long had it been? Not even an hour. What kind of place was this? A wealthy man's manor. Although there were no weapons or train coins, there were important things here that other platforms didn't have: food. Not some compressed biscuits, but actual vegetables and meat. Although white forest fruit tasted good, if one ate it every day, they would eventually get tired of it. As a normal human, Yikian also missed normal meals. Mr. Priest, this is your reward for saving us. A red gemstone without a single impurity was taken out of a safe by the old butler. This is a treasure the master obtained in his youth. It's priceless and the most valuable thing in this manor that I know of. Please do not refuse it, Mr. Priest. Of course, if you see anything else in this manor you like, feel free to take it. After all, there is no longer a master here. He had been waiting for that last sentence. Yi Qian accepted the gemstone and casually weighed it in his hand. It was very smooth and icy cold, like a piece of ice. I'll be heading down the mountain soon, but before that, I need to resupply. May I take some food and water? Of course. Walking into their kitchen, Yi Qian saw a large amount of fresh meat, eggs, and vegetables in the refrigerator. Filling the backpack he had brought, Yi Qian hurriedly headed toward the train, a 20-minute round trip. After tossing the items into the train, he immediately turned back. The old butler, who was using a rope to tie up the crazed security guard, was startled to see Yi Qian suddenly return. "Mr. Priest, is there still something wrong with the curse?" "No problem. It's just that the Almighty himself is hungry and told me to bring back some food." "That's fine, right?" Chapter 22. Leaving the station, new Tier 4 treasure chest, Yi Qian made several trips, moving most of the food and various seasonings from the kitchen. He hadn't forgotten that there were still 2 living people in the manor. Therefore, he didn't take everything. On his final trip out of the manor, the old butler, who had been standing by the iron gate, suddenly called out to him. "Mr. Priest." Yi Qian stopped in his tracks and turned to look. He saw the old butler leading the crazed security guard, bowing toward him. "Mr. Priest, thank you for saving our lives. If there is ever a chance, I will certainly repay you. Please take this." Please don't misunderstand. I'm not implying that you've come and gone too many times. You could empty the entire manor and it wouldn't matter. I only just remembered this. If I let you leave like this, I would truly regret it." Fearing Yi Qian might overthink it, the old butler explained further while handing him a wooden box tied with a ribbon. "What is this?" Yi Qian opened the wooden box and was slightly surprised by what he saw inside. The old butler shook his head and replied with a sigh. "From your expression, you must know about the RUN Corporation. This is the currency used to trade with them. With these coins, you can buy anything from them. The master collected them for many years, but in the end, he only had these 3. Since the master is dead, I might as well give them to you, Mr. Priest, as a small token of gratitude for saving our lives." Indeed, inside the box were 3 train coins, but Yi Qian was even more surprised by a certain name, RUN Corporation. So this faction that appeared back in Doomsday Town wasn't just a simple background element. Could it be that he would encounter this company at other platforms in the future? Just how massive was this organization? He couldn't figure it out. There wasn't enough information to support his guesses. Yi Qian returned to the train for the last time, discarded his raincoat, and smiled as he looked at the pile of food and various pots and pans. There was no point in thinking too much. It was better to focus on staying alive. He stored these items in the storage unit, so he didn't have to worry about them rotting over time. He set up a barbecue rack in the train and placed a thick, high-quality steak on it, preparing his first proper, warm dinner since arriving in this world. In the intervals of grilling the meat, Yi Qian also placed containers outside to collect rainwater and began to organize the special loot he had gathered from this station so far. Purified earthbound object, Tier 3, can be placed anywhere on the train, can repel evil spirits. Supple ruby, Tier 1, expensive. Perhaps certain beings would buy this with train coins, can be used to craft a ruby-colored train livery. Would someone really use train coins to buy something like this? Yi Qian tossed the gem aside, thought for a moment, and performed sublimation on that skull. Stamina. 56 right arrow 49 mental power. 90 right arrow 50. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share infinite novel audio. An invisible power enveloped the skull. In an instant, the stamina and mental power were consumed. The object in Yi Qian's hand no longer looked like a skull. It was replaced by a perfectly smooth, glowing jade stone. Pure earthbound stone, Tier 4. Place anywhere on the train to enable the train to dispel evil spirits, ignoring any supernatural power below its tier, and automatically absorbing negative effects applied to the train captain. The ability after sublimation had undergone a qualitative leap. While it still dispelled evil spirits, the Tier 4 earthbound stone added the effects of absorbing negative status and ignoring evil spirits below Tier 4. In other words, until he reached Tier 5, He shouldn't face any more danger when encountering supernatural-type platforms. And most importantly, Yi Qian didn't feel that this stone's potential was exhausted. It could still be sublimated further. Stopover countdown 004245. While enjoying his barbecue feast, Yi Qian heard a sound coming from the collection station. Looking toward the source, he saw Wally crawling in through the hole below. It was clutching a blood-stained gift box in its arms as it wobbled over to Yi Qian and handed it over. Tier 3 treasure chest, can be opened. Good job, Wally. I'll give you some extra oil later. Wally couldn't understand any of that. It simply returned to the collection station to enter its dormant state. Well then, it's time to leave. Now that Wally had returned with the treasure chest, there was no longer any point in staying at this station. Depart. Privilege activated. The train started up. It accelerated slowly, passing through the void. Moving from one patch of pitch-black thunderclouds to another, Yi Qian returned to the endless wilderness. All survivors have left the fourth platform. Intra-platform chat function enabled. Newbie inherent hidden module, newbie protection, is now closed. From now on, monsters will also attack the train during the day. The broadcast voice faded away. The chat room instantly became lively. Fuck, are they even going to let us live? Monsters at night, monsters during the day. They're not letting us sleep, are they? If you want me dead, just say so. There's no need for this kind of torture. Heh, haven't you figured it out yet? This world just wants to watch us die. It never intended to give us a way out. That's strange. Even Tier 2 trains should have left the station a while ago, right? Why is the broadcast only happening now? Are you trying to say someone reached Tier 3? Stop joking. Didn't you see how many materials are needed for Tier 3? It's impossible for anyone to gather them all. Besides, it's not like it's only been an hour. Maybe the broadcast system is just glitchy and delayed. Exactly. It hasn't even been that long. How could anyone have collected so many materials? If someone really did, I'll eat them myself. Tusk, monsters during the day too. But I don't have enough bullets. Hey, gun-selling bro, come out and say something. Do you have any more bullets? I'll trade you bug meat for them. It's high protein, tastes like beef. Are you Bear Grylls? Why are you eating bugs? There were those who complained and those who discussed. After 4 stations, the remaining people were forced to grow accustomed to the cruelty of this world. They didn't feel much anger toward the broadcast's announcement because they were too exhausted to be angry anymore. The death toll after the 4th station was slightly lower than after the 3rd. 3455/10,000 fewer than 1,000 people had died. Was that something to celebrate? Regardless, the scrolling speed in the chat room was significantly slower than at the very beginning. Yi Qian didn't pay attention to any of this. His entire focus was on the box in his hand. Sublimation. Stamina, 63 right arrow 33 mental power. 70 right arrow 45 tier 4 treasure chest. Ready to open, Yi Qian used a fork to stuff a piece of grilled meat into his mouth and wiped his hands. The last tier 4 treasure chest gave him the sentry tower. He hoped this one wouldn't be too bad either. Opening tier 4 treasure chest, obtained train coins. 8 chapter 23. Rewards in the new level 4 treasure chest. Open level 4 treasure chest, obtained train coins. 8 obtained. Monitor blueprint level 4 obtained. Safety bracelet level 4 obtained. Clockwork monkey doll bomb blueprint level 4 obtained. Blasphemy card fragment. 3 items marked as level 4, including 2 blueprints. Without a doubt, this chest opening was even luckier than the last. Yi Qian couldn't wait to extract everything to examine them. Monitor blueprint requires 100 kg metal, 80 kg wood, 150 mechanical parts, 30 electronic components equipped to any carriage to monitor any part of the train. An alarm will sound if foreign objects intrude a very good train facility, but he didn't have the electronic components for now. He'd need to look for them on the trading platform. Safety bracelet can block 1 instance of fatal damage. Shatters after blocking. The extremely brief description was incredibly practical. Saving one's life was undoubtedly the most important thing in this world. Yi Qian put the bracelet on his right wrist, feeling an inexplicable sense of security. Clockwork monkey doll bomb blueprint production requires 3 kg metal, 40 mechanical parts, 400 g gunpowder, 1 kg fiber winded up fully, and the monkey doll will travel to a designated location and self-destruct. 400 grams of gunpowder. I remember 100 bullets only consumed 500 grams in total, but where on earth am I going to get some gunpowder? Yikian shook his head, having a blueprint but no materials was truly a frustrating situation. I'll just have to buy some. Having made his decision, his gaze fell upon the final reward, something he had never opened before. 1/3 of a black gold card. Blasphemy card fragment. Collect 3 fragments to synthesize a blasphemy card. Blasphemy card. So mysterious. 3 in 1, which means at least 3 level 4 treasure chests. No, even a level 4 chest might not necessarily drop one. Yikian toyed with the uniquely textured card for a while. Although he didn't know what would happen after synthesis, it likely wouldn't be anything simple. Trading platform buying on the platform wasn't going smoothly. It wasn't that no one was selling, but the quantity was too small, the prices were inconsistent, and the markups were too high. Even though he was relatively wealthy now, he didn't want to be a sucker. Moreover, in the current situation, truly capable people had already passed the initial difficult period. They wouldn't just casually put something like gunpowder up for sale. If he wanted to buy some, he'd have to post a message directly in the chat room, buying gunpowder. Every 200 G can be traded for 1 compressed biscuit and 1 bottle of drinking water or 1 fresh tomato. Interested parties, please search the trading platform or PM me with your price. After sending the message, Yikian also spent 1 train coin to pin the message so that everyone still alive could see it. At the same time, he put up a trade request for electronic components, setting the price at 1 bottle of mineral water plus 1 compressed biscuit for every 10 components. Although after experiencing the thunderstorm platform, anyone even slightly smart shouldn't be too short on water by now. Never mind if it's clean. As long as you heat it up before drinking, you at least won't die of thirst. Not to mention there was Shangyu and Yingsu, the big water seller. Yikian often saw the water she listed on the trading platform. He just didn't know if it was leftover bathwater. Therefore, Yikian added a compressed biscuit to the deal. Though he looked down on these biscuits, that was him, not others. A bottle of water and a piece of military compressed biscuit were enough to last a whole day without eating. Furthermore, the sweetness of the biscuit could provide a bit of comfort in these times of constant life-or-death situations. As for the tomatoes. In the kitchen of the 4th station's castle, the most common fruits and vegetables were tomatoes. He had brought back 3 whole crates. In ancient times, people on a voyage would get scurvy because they lacked fresh fruits and vegetables. They might be surviving on a train now, but in the end, how much different was it from being on a ship? Holy crap, what's this message? Why is it suddenly pinned? That's awesome. Pinning a message costs 1 train coin. My God, what a big shot. I only have 1 train coin and I'm saving it to buy resources to upgrade my train's speed later. Someone's actually willing to spend it on this. What a waste. What does how a big shot spends his money have to do with you? Look at the name, Yikian. This is the legend who put rifles up for sale right after the 1st station ended. He probably isn't short on train coins at all. Is that what you're focusing on? Didn't you see? He's offering tomatoes. Damn, I haven't eaten normal fruit in how many days? My mouth is so tasteless it's driving me crazy. 200 G of gunpowder. Hey, I actually scavenged some from a corpse's backpack earlier. I was thinking of making a bomb or something, but I could sell a bit. Can I use other things to buy tomatoes? Tomatoes are vegetables, not fruits. Gunpowder at Yikian. What's gunpowder for? Making guns. Big shot, if you have any more guns, can you sell me one? I'll buy it with train coins. Me too, me too. Big shot, please, I want a gun. As he expected, there were capable people among the survivors. In a short time, Yikian had completed the 10 trades he had set up. Looking at the 2 kilograms of gunpowder that had appeared before him, he took out a portion and, combined with metal, manufactured his first set of bullets. Bullet times 100, level 3 100 bullets appeared out of thin air where the materials were consumed. Yikian weighed them in his hand. They felt heavier than the low-level bullets he had first obtained. Loading and chambering around, Yikian fired a shot at a pile of stacked metal. The black light pistol could originally only manage to pierce through using low-level bullets, but after switching to these level 3 bullets, it actually blew the metal pile apart. Hiss, by how many times has the power increased? This is so fierce. Yikian was very satisfied with his handiwork. After turning all the remaining gunpowder into bullets, he stored the 999 freshly made level 3 rounds into the special storage unit, allowing him to take them out anytime, even when outside the train. The chat interface flickered slightly. A friend had sent him a private message. Who could it be? Yikian looked over and found that more than one person had messaged him. In the private message interface, his 3 friends had all popped up. Lai Zia Sheng. Friend, do you remember what I said? I have gunpowder and you can manufacture weapons. If we join forces, we will surely become the kings of all train conductors. Chunabiu ignored Zhao Lin. Brother Yi, can you sell me a gun? I can trade with train coins. A smart trading partner worth doing business with her, Shangyuan Yingsu. What level has your train reached? A. Seeing the last message, Yikian was slightly stunned. What does this woman mean? If she was asking if Yikian had reached level 2, there was no need. Because after this 4th station, others besides Lai Zia Sheng had also reached level 2. Even if Yikian hadn't said anything, in the eyes of others, he should be one of them. Yikian didn't really care about the possibility of his train level being exposed. Whether it was exposed or not didn't matter. He wasn't afraid of such things. Just upgraded. Chapter 24. Crafting a Power Generator, New Weather, Tropical Winds. Shangyuan Yingsu fell silent for a moment upon seeing this ambiguous answer. Half submerged in steaming hot water, she hesitated for a moment before continuing. What are you making with the gunpowder you're collecting? Bullets? Can you sell me some? He had just finished the bullets and already had a customer. Yikian narrowed his eyes. As the second train captain to reach level 2 besides himself, Shangyuan Yingsu naturally possessed more resources than the others. Moreover, unlike Lai Zia Sheng, who was somewhat troublesome, trading with her was relatively easy. I can certainly sell you bullets. However, this time I don't want water or resources. I only want train coins. 1 train coin for 30 bullets. Are you robbing me? Clearly, Shangyuan Yingsu could not accept this price. No, I'm stating a fact. My bullets are well worth the price. He sent a screenshot. Upon seeing the level 3 affix attached to the bullets, Shangyuan Yingsu's eyes widened and she muttered in disbelief. How is that possible? Level 3 bullets. Has he really already reached level 3? But Shangyuan Yingsu didn't ask questions like, why do you have level 3 bullets? Everyone has their own secrets and luck. She was the same, taking a deep breath. Shangyuan Yingsu hesitated for a moment, still intending to haggle a bit. 50 rounds. 1 train coin for 50 bullets. 30 is too few, it's not enough at all. 50 is too many. How about this, let's meet in the middle. 40 bullets, what do you say? When people negotiate prices, they often leave a middle value. Once someone voices that middle value, there's a high probability both parties will accept. Shangyuan Yingsu sighed inwardly. She took out a pouch from beside her and removed her only 3 train coins, feeling a bit of a sting. Deal. But you have to throw in a gun. My previous one is a bit damaged. I can't just give you one, but I can sell you a new one. Don't be so quick to refuse. Take a look at the new gun before you decide. Exquisite Marksman Rifle, Level 2. Looking at the firearm in the screenshot, which was clearly much more luxurious and powerful than a low-level rifle, Shangyuan Yingsu subconsciously felt a surge of desire. How much? Not much. 2 train coins. I'll throw in 10 bullets as a bonus. Including the ones from before, that's 50 bullets total, exactly meeting your needs. Pretty fair, right? Silently looking at the 3 train coins in her hand, Shangyuan Yingsu felt an eerie sense that she was being watched by this man. Otherwise, how could he accurately name everything she currently possessed? After hesitating for a long while, Shangyuan Yingsu gritted her teeth. Let's trade. Certainly. By the way, I remember you have a wooden bed blueprint. Can you make one for me? Of course, I'll provide the materials. Think of it as a return favor for those extra 10 bullets. How about it? 0.10 kg of wood. Shangyuan Yingsu no longer wanted to talk. After the trade was completed, she looked at the extra wood he sent over and simply sighed, crafted the wooden bed, and traded it back. Having gained 3 train coins and a bed to sleep on, Yikian had certainly made a killing in this trade. the exquisite marksman rifle wasn't of much use to him. Since he had the trial by gunfire module, he could hit distant targets even with a handgun. Keeping the rifle was pointless. It was better to sell it for train coins. Lying on the bed frame after so long, his mood improved significantly. 14 train coins, this was the wealth he now possessed. Trading with people like her is much more pleasant, no nonsense. Oh right, there's also her. Yiqian uninstalled the low-level rifles from the alert platforms. After sublimating them all to level 2, he sold them to Zhao Lin for the same price of 2 train coins each. Incidentally, he traded 100 low-level bullets for 5 freshwater fish. With that, his train coin count reached 16. Shortly after, he successfully acquired the electronic components. Consuming the materials, Yiqian directly built the Watcher and installed it in the 3rd carriage. Just like the alert devices, he couldn't sublimate it for now. He needed to find a way to cross the level 4 threshold. Right, I can exchange for the generator now, can't I? Yiqian hadn't forgotten the options that unlocked after he reached level 3. That power generator blueprint worth a full 6 train coins. Exchange. Energy power generation device manufacturing blueprint level 3 requires 50 mechanical parts, 40 kg metal. The required materials were fewer than he had imagined. This was for the best, as it saved him from additional trading. Yiqian crafted the power generation device immediately. Energy power generation device consumes diesel to generate electricity. Diesel was available on the trading platform, but there was only 1 barrel, and the quantity was very small. Even if he bought it, it wouldn't last long, and it would likely be difficult to acquire more. Yiqian wasn't satisfied with this. He patted the knee-high generator and began sublimation. Energy power generation device, right arrow power generation device. Enchanted omnivore level 3 consumable resources, metal/wood/coal/oil. To generate electricity now I don't have to buy oil. He casually tossed in a piece of wood, and the power storage gauge on the generator ticked up slightly. He bought some light bulbs to hang in the carriages. With electricity, he wouldn't have to endure the darkness at night. On his 4th day in this world, he could finally be like a normal human, lying in bed and counting stars as he drifted into sleep. Of course, there were no stars tonight. There were only the suffocating, rolling black clouds overhead. The wilderness night was exceptionally lonely. No monsters harassed him tonight, as the thinning thunder and fading raindrops accompanied the hours. The thunderstorm weather quietly passed. The next morning, dazzling sunlight streamed through the window onto Yiqian's face. Waking up groggily, he stretched, grabbed a white forest fruit for breakfast, and habitually walked toward the locomotive. But the moment he entered the locomotive, the rolling heat waves snapped him wide awake. Holy crap, it's so hot. What's going on? Ding dong, the broadcast sounded. Today's weather is hot wind day. All train captains, please take note. Please maintain your body temperature and avoid heat stroke. The weather changed again, but this time it didn't say the platforms would change too. Yiqian returned to the constant temperature carriage to wash his face, then gritted his teeth and went back to the locomotive. It really is inconvenient that the control system can only be used in the locomotive. He opened the chat room, which was already buzzing with activity. In fact, everyone except Yiqian had been woken up by the heat as soon as the weather changed. He was the only one who could sleep until now. Chapter 25, Zhao Lin's talent and so hot, so hot, so hot, so hot, so hot. I'm about to explode from the heat. Just how many degrees is it outside? At least 40 degrees. The hottest it ever got where I used to live was about the same as this. Water. Someone sell me some water, I can't take it anymore. Didn't you guys collect water during yesterday's thunderstorm? Even if it's not very clean, it's drinkable if you boil it, right? Of course I did, but what's the use? With this heat, the water I just drank is sweated out in no time. Besides, this train is just a tin box. With the sun beating down outside, how is this any different from an oven? Just bear with it. We'll reach the next station in a few hours. The broadcast didn't say the next station would have this hellish weather, did it? Bear with it. Heh, look at your mental power. Haven't you noticed? Ever since the temperature rose, mental power and stamina attributes have been dropping. I can only slow it down a bit by splashing cold water on myself. If this keeps up, even if I don't die of heat, I'll probably go crazy. Wiping the sweat from his forehead, Yikian gulped down a bottle of mineral water and opened his personal interface to check his information. Stamina, 98 mental power, 110. His stamina was indeed decreasing, but his mental power hadn't changed like the others said. My mental power seems different from others. Is it also because I ate too many white forest fruits? Bang, a gunshot interrupted his thoughts. He looked toward the sound. It was the warning device firing. Outside the train, a pack of scrawny jackals had gathered at some point, seemingly chasing after the train. Their speed wasn't fast compared to the level 3 train. What was truly concerning was that these monsters didn't have a train broadcast warning like during night survival. They just suddenly appeared outside to chase the train, and things like this might become the norm in the future. They don't appear all at once. It really is completely random. No one in the chat room had mentioned this, which meant the pack of jackals Yikian encountered was purely due to his own bad luck. You have a new message. The private chat interface flickered slightly. Someone had sent him a message. Zhao Lin. Brother Yi, are there monsters outside your train? It was Zhao Lin, the person who made the automatic fishing rod and a low-maintenance trader. She encountered monsters. Yikian glanced at the jackals outside that were gradually being left behind. Did you encounter them too? Yeah. If I hadn't barely managed to increase my speed to 35 kilometers after the 4th station, I probably would have been caught. Those birds are really scary. Many of them slammed into the glass as they flew by. If it weren't for the gun you sold me, Brother Yi, I'd be dead. Birds, huh? Not the same type of monster as the jackals he encountered. Oh, so what do you want to buy this time? I want to buy materials for upgrading, but I don't have any train coins left. Can I pay with fish meat? IDE 3 to 7741 dressed very lightly. Zhao Lin nervously watched the messages on the private chat interface. Sweat trickled down her wheat-colored skin. She was very afraid that Yikian would refuse her purchase, but she really couldn't think of anyone else to buy upgrade materials from. After all, train speed equals life. There were only 2 days left until the next night survival phase. All the survivors were currently working hard to upgrade their trains. No one was willing to sell upgrade materials. If even Brother Yi won't sell to me, what should I do? Sigh, my talent is such a scam. Zhao Lin was also a talent holder. Luck conservation. Good luck is followed by bad luck, and bad luck is followed by good luck. At the 3rd station, her luck was terrible. She entered a dark and damp bat cave and didn't dare leave the train, forcing herself to stay inside for 3 hours. Her 4th station was a fish pond. Using the fishing rod she had been making since the beginning, she actually caught over 100 fish and a level 1 treasure chest in just 3 short hours. Keep in mind, she didn't have any bait at all. Those fish were like they were blind, all throwing themselves onto her hook. Without a doubt, that was a stroke of good luck. But what about the next time? The next time was destined to be bad luck. There was a high probability she still wouldn't be able to upgrade the train, leaving her with only 1 station's chance before the subsequent night survival. Zhao Lin didn't dare gamble on being able to get enough resources to upgrade in a single station. She could only pray in her heart that she could buy them from Yikian, the only big shot who might possibly sell her resources. Seeing Zhao Lin's message, Yikian chose to refuse without a second thought. He wasn't short on food now. He had sold 100 bullets to Zhao Lin before only because he happened to want to eat, and low-level bullets weren't very useful to him anymore. Sorry, not interested. Zhao Lin grew anxious, as if her last lifeline was about to snap. Wait, don't, Brother Yi. Just think of it as saving me. Please sell me some resources. You're the only person I can think of who can provide upgrade resources right now. If I don't upgrade, I definitely won't survive the next night's survival. There are still 2 stations left. It's not like there's 0 chance of reaching level 2. Others might be able to, but I can't. Brother Yi, I have a talent. Zhao Lin bit her lip and revealed the secret of her talent in its entirety. Looking at the screenshot she sent, this was the first time Yikian had seen someone else's talent besides his own. Good luck and bad luck appearing alternately. What an abstract talent. My sublimation is still better, but no wonder she's anxious. If the next station is bad luck, even if the one after that is good luck, it's not guaranteed she'll finish the upgrade. Yikian thought for a moment. How much are you short? 38 kilograms of wood, 22 kilograms of metal, and 14 machine parts. You should have opened a treasure chest before this, right? Give me the contents of that chest, plus 10 fish. Also, after you finish the upgrade, I want to see your upgrade options. Oh, forget about that fishing rod blueprint. I want the chest you opened at the last station. Don't get it wrong. He did have the items. After all, he was the first among the train captains to use firearms to trade for materials. If he tried now, even if he brought out those guns, it would be hard to trade for basic materials essential for train upgrades. However, Yikian was no philanthropist. Helping her was only because she had a talent. Perhaps he could have better trades with her in the future. Okay, thank you. You're such a good person. I will repay you. The trade was completed. Within a halo of light, several items and 10 freshwater fish appeared before him. 1,000 subscribers. Party Popper, thank you to everyone who watched, liked, commented, and supported this channel. Reaching 1K is a huge milestone, and I couldn't have done it without you. This is only the beginning. Our next goal is 5,000 subscribers, and we're moving forward together. Rocket fire.